Okay. So it looks like I'm live right now. So okay, this is a very, very interesting situation. Why am I hosting this alone right now? It's because there have been two cancellations, you know, in this whole entire fight card. This is hashtag UFC Vegas 5, Apex Center back in Las Vegas. Two of the fighters, one of them I know had to pull out because he got tested positive. That's GM3, uh, Gerald Merishert. Sorry if I'm butchering this. So he came down with it, and he just posted like a few hours ago that that's the reason why like his bout is canceled. So originally we had the stream set up for 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, but things happen, and thank goodness we caught them because next is one of my favorite fighters, one of my favorite welterweights. Vicente Luque is fighting. That's right. So obviously I could have missed that. So honestly, I just did my hair and makeup like real quickly. Screw the outfit that I was supposed to wear. And here we go. I'm gonna be leading off this show. Thank you so much for anyone who's joining. We appreciate it so much. This is one of our traditions where when there's a fight night or a pay-per-view, we do this quarantine love fight companion with my better half, Jonathan Renteria, but many people know him as Appleman MMA. So give him a follow on Twitter, and he'll be here very, very soon. And I can't wait because it's like date night for us, honestly. Okay, so if anyone has seen at least the prelims, there are about 4 fights on the prelims. I believe one of them was canceled because of the fact that GM3 got COVID-19. Best wishes, stay healthy to you out there. And I saw about 3/4 of the fights. The first fight, Chris Gutierrez versus Duran. It wasn't my favorite fight so far. I'll say that as nicely as I can. It ended up as a draw. I really do believe that because Duran really controlled the ground game for like, I don't know, a whole 5 minutes. Like that's basically a full round. But then obviously Gutierrez led with, just more strikes. So because of that, it balances the scales, and because of that, we have a draw. So that was the first fight. The second one was important to my partner who's about to join us, Appleman MMA, because basically Vince Cachero, who made this fight happen in 24 hours notice, he fought his butt off against the opponent, and we all know him. His name is Jamal Emmers. Emmers looking real sharp. Obviously the last fight he was in against Giga, he knew that he had to be the aggressor or had a faster start, and that's exactly what he did. Knees galore, just an amazing clinch. Obviously took him down right at like the perfect timing. Now, obviously, Vince Cachero, I don't know what you're made of, but man, that face did not break throughout the entire fight. So kudos to you. Hats off. You are definitely a tough mother effer. And so, it was pretty obvious, Emmers definitely dominated that fight. Standing up, taking control, more significant strikes, obviously kicks, and just kept busy. So, that was a really, really great fight and a testament to both fighters. Cachero, hats off to you for taking this fight in 24 hours notice. I believe you are usually a bantamweight, but because of the 24 hours notice, you weighed in at 145. So, I respect you for that. And you will definitely be back. This is not the last, for sure. So, the third fight, I did not actually see. So, to me, I was just like, I actually took a nap. I literally woke up and then this happened. Like, I just realized news of 2 of these fights unfortunately being canceled. So this whole card is looking real, real slim right now because it's technically now an 8 fight card if I'm not mistaken. So, and I remember the last fight was Jonathan Martinez, who unfortunately weighed over at 4.5 pounds. He's usually a bantamweight, I believe. And because of that, it didn't matter. He pulled off the knee the knee KO, which is really impressive. It's on my page as well as Fights Unwrapped. Give us a shout out, Fights Unwrapped, Unwrapped Sports. That's the great sports family that I'm a part of, and I run the social media for it. So we have a lot of fun there. So please give us a follow, Fights Unwrapped as well, USN Unwrapped Sports, and my page at Monique Gift, and my partner's page at Appleman MMA. So I'm just gonna pull off my laptop right now because now the main card started, and it just pretty much got exciting. There was a rematch between Bobby Green and Lando Venata, and that was amazing. I mean, both men brought it. Literally, I mean, obviously Bobby Green with those straight punches he dominated a lot of it. Honestly, if I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but Venata just so tough, and so that's basically what happened. Venata, he knew he had to fight, and come back in the third round, and he tried. He landed some great strikes, but in the end, Bobby Green just did more and dominated that fight game to his liking. So hats off to you, Bobby Green. One draw, 3 years later, you got the victory. So kudos to you, and definitely for a lot of people or fans out there on Twitter, a lot of people are saying this is contender for fight of the night, and I would not disagree with you for sure. Now a welterweight bout is about to happen. That's right, Vicente Luque. Oh man, I'm so excited for you versus Randy Brown. Now, obviously, I have a bias in this whole fight, and that's because of that. I'm not gonna really comment on it, because I guess I respect the hell out of Randy Brown. I'm obviously a huge fan, especially for his fight style. But Luque, I've been loyal to you since God knows, way before UFC, when you were in Tough. I was definitely a huge fan. So let me just bring up what has happened so far before this welterweight bout, which is the third last fight, by the way, third last fight in this fight night. All right. So after this fight, you have the co-main event, which is my girl from the women's flyweight division, Joanne Calderwood, or I call her JoJo, and against Jennifer Maya. So that should be fun. And obviously the headliners, the main event, we're talking about Derek Brunson versus Edmund Sebastian for that middleweight bout. Oh, so much on the line, especially for Edmund Sebastian, and because he's 11-0, and you got Derek Brunson, who is just gonna get back up there in that top contender spot for middleweight. So obviously lots of urgency for both fighters, and at the same time, we're gonna see a lot of action. I feel like because of the fact that they definitely want to get noticed and be in that top contender spot. Now, looking at what's happening in the fight right now, the fighters are getting out right now. Randy Brown is going out right now.
What's
Hi.
up?
Hi.
Hi.
I was like, geez, I did not see that coming. Thank God, very easily. All right. So I just kind of recapped what happened so far, and basically how this whole fight card,
Yeah.
it went from 9 and it went to 8. So I know it was so last minute. I was telling the public how just we had to kind of scramble a little bit because
Mm-hmm.
of the two fights that were unfortunately canceled last minute. And also, by the way, I missed the fight during the prelims to explain that. The second last fight before the prelim headliner featherweight bout between Johnny Muniz and Nate Maness, he won via decision. So there you go. All right. So Randy Brown,
Cool.
at least from what I'm seeing right now, is in the ring, and Luque is coming out. He's looking loose. He's looking comfortable. I'm so excited to see him fight. I know we both are.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, this is most likely going to be fight of the night. It's like a really high chance.
I mean, you have to catch the highlights from the previous fight, which was a rematch between Bobby Green and Lando Venata. Like 3 years ago, they had a draw, and then this time they both brought it. Bobby Green came out with the decision win. It was just pretty obvious with the amount of strikes.
I didn't watch it.
I know, right? So you have to watch that. That was amazing. Both fighters. I remember, like in the first round, a lot of people were saying this could be fight of the night, and I definitely agreed that like both men just kept busy
Well,
and they kept fighting, and nobody like there's a lot of guillotine like attempts. There's a lot of straight punches. It's pretty much a perfect storm for the perfect fight. Now, all right. So this is like important. This whole matchup is so important, especially for Luke. He was up there almost. At fighting for that title. We want to get him back there. Obviously, I'm sure he wants that too. At number 11 in the welterweight division, and he got Randy Brown, who's just on a streak. I mean, 12-3. Don't sleep on him. I'm obviously not trying to be biased at this point. So, Jonathan, I know you had a
yeah.
lot of notes prepared because we thought we had more time.
Well, I didn't know that we were gonna be this invested in the fights. I didn't know that.
You should have always invested in these fights. Sorry,
Okay, well,
tail tape. Sorry?
yeah, I'm seeing the same thing. Tell the tape.
Holy crap, Randy Brown! I knew he was 6 foot. Like at least I knew he was 6 foot. But you got like 5'11" versus 6'3". Oh, I'm just gonna see what happens there. But Luke he's just technically textbook. That's the reason why I love him. He's just so technical and skill wise. Like he's always so calm too. So like I'm not.
I think I've seen one of Randy Brown's fights before. He looks really familiar. He's
I'm
the
sure you
plus
probably
160 underdog. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna underestimate him. Don't sleep on him. That's for sure.
I don't know. I'm predicting a Luke KO or TKO.
I can see a TKO, not a KO. No offense. And now introducing his opponent, fighting. So excited!
I know you were so excited for this fight. You did not want to miss it.
I know. Okay, y'all. I did my makeup in like 30 seconds. I was like, I need to watch and do these reactions. And thank God I didn't like start. I guess before you joined me on our live. Also, if anyone wants to nominate any fighter that has a lot of heart in the game, Luke is going to be probably up there with a few of them. So, I'm excited. Thank you, Vanessa.
I'm at round 1. I think I'm ahead of you.
Of course you were. I have to like restart it if I were to join right now because I'm like watching it from my other phone.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's okay. I just won't react.
You say that and then you actually do it. Love you.
Okay, well, don't look at me.
Okay, no, I restarted, so we're good. I think I'm probably closer to where you're at. So
my time is 4:32.
Yeah, I'm just like 8 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, look, it got knocked out.
What?
Nah, I'm kidding.
Why
I'm
would
kidding.
you do that to me? I still get the notifications. I haven't turned them off. So technically, I would know. Okay, if you're
notifications are instant.
Hmm?
I don't know if those are instant.
The push notifications, like you have to just click that bell emoji on the Twitter, and then you get to see all the notifications as they happen. I forgot to turn that off because I was rushed. To make this happen. Obviously.
Yeah, Randy Brown is huge. He looks like a spider. He has extremely long limbs.
Yes, very, very lanky. And the upper body is also very built, so, good frame on him. Which will serve him very well in this fight, but obviously since we're biased and we know how great and technical Luke is, he is a mastermind at closing distance, regardless of who's taller than him or not, he's really good at that. So I'm excited to see. Luke looks like, okay, I don't know if it's just me, but he looks more built, like upper body.
Yeah, he looks a lot thicker.
Right? Okay, so it's not just me.
My boy's thicker than a Snickers.
That should be the tweet, man. That should be the tweet. All right, I'm supposed to call you by name, so I'm gonna try and remember to do that because that was a deal. Okay.
Luke landed a really nice overhand right early in the round.
Oh, I
don't know if you saw it, but it looked like it sort of backed Randy up. Yeah, against the cage.
Luke is staying busy. Love the kicks. Great counter striker. I believe his fight against, is it Wonder Boy, was one of my favorites.
Uppercut. Did you see the uppercut?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, you have to react to it. Come on. If I can't react to it, you got to do it.
I'll try. I don't know. I'm really just like, focused. And like, especially because everything was so rushed, like to do this stream, I'm just kind of like,
Laid
edging
back,
off.
chilling.
Yeah, like, cause I'm just like, yo, right now we were supposed to start the stream 30 minutes later. But then you know what happens? COVID happens, unfortunately.
So
That's why
I
I
don't
said,
know
why
if
didn't you just freaking stay at like goddamn like Yas Island, freaking Fight Island? Because everything was fine. Like, well, not fine, but you know what I mean. Like, better handled, obviously.
yeah.
Then they go back to Vegas, and this is what freaking happens.
So I don't know if Randy shot in for a takedown, but Luque countered it with a uppercut, and that was what led to the knockdown.
I mean,
He fell
amazing.
right on his back. Yeah.
Brandon Fitzgerald, that's the other commentator, babe.
So
Daddy,
there,
whatever.
that's his name.
God
Yeah.
damn it. This is hard because not everything calls for that. Okay.
I don't. You should be used to it by now.
Yeah, not on a stream. No, like talking to me. Yeah, I'm used to calling you that.
Yeah, Luque's putting on a lot of pressure on Randy right now.
Good.
Yeah, Randy's the one that's circling around, but then that's what he has to do as the shorter fighter.
But he's just so like calm. Like a lot of shorter fighters, like
Yeah.
obviously we saw it in the prelims with Vince Kishare. Like you just obviously that was a little different. You had 24 hours notice. You obviously were not fighting your weight class, fine. But at the same time, like Luque maybe just has that experience being maybe
Yeah.
the shorter fighter in welterweight because it is, they're usually like 6 feet, about that height. And so he's used to like being calm and like experience the close distance and like obviously technically textbook like man can teach like a class, so
That was a nice check hook by Luque. There almost dropped Randy again.
There you go.
Yeah.
Randy Brown's doing what I call like the John Jones effect because in John Jones like he'll jab at you or he'll pick at you, but then he'll just kind of like distance away.
Yeah.
And everything, right? And obviously, I don't know if he's just waiting. He's being patient to,
I think it's just Luque. I think Luque is just way too experienced of a striker. That like he's definitely had like experience like this against much taller opponents. Like there's no way he's not going to be prepared for someone like that.
Oh,
It's
for
not even
sure.
an issue for him.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like Randy Brown is like crazy lanky, by the way, compared to a lot of the welterweights that Luque has fought too. Not all of them are like that. And so I think experience for this round or this fight, it pays off for sure. Now, obviously, a lot of people are like, oh, but he's just gonna gas out. Like Luque like doesn't gas out. That's the beauty of it. Like his cardio is like up there with the best. I've never really seen him get super tired before, at least what I remember.
Me neither.
Right? Yeah. All right. So
yeah, he's.
Oh, I saw the first round. Like obviously belonged to Luque. That's all.
Yeah. And he's definitely one of the most exciting welterweights like in the entire division. Like.
Now I think that's a subjective comment because I think I have the same mindset as you when it comes to what we think constitutes an exciting fighter because a lot of people, especially starting out, I don't blame you, casuals, amateurs, you start out saying like the most exciting fighter is obviously someone who knocks someone out, that knees them in the head and then that person gets knocked out, that like grounds and pound and then the other person like opens up like a freaking volcano, right? Like, but I think like for me, most exciting are obviously like I love technical fighters. It's like it's just like so it's beautiful to watch, all of the martial arts like, out there. And I'm not saying anything about people that are juggernauts, that are KO artists, because that's exciting too. But for me, it's definitely when it comes to analyzing these fights and breaking them down, it's all about, their technique. So
groin shot by Luque.
Oh, early on, yeah. Right there in
Oh.
the corners. All right. Oh. Don't want to see that again. I don't want to see the replay again. Oh no, we're seeing the replay. Yeah, right. Oh, right there.
Yeah.
there was another groin shot. What was it like in the Vince Cachero fight? You remember when we hit Emirates with the groin shot? Yeah. So how did you get too excited and then shit happens like this? All right.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Good job, babe. I can't do this. It's so hard. Like, we gotta like I don't know, talk like differently or something.
Come on, I bought you food. That's like the least you could do.
Thank you, Daddy. Okay,
there you go. There you
I'm
go.
sorry, it's happening. Okay, I just have to like it's not natural for me to say it like with these things. Obviously, Randy Brown, like obviously keeping busy, try to jab, counter, feint, all that, which is good. It makes it for a more exciting fight. But then Luke is just staying busy, especially with those leg kicks. That jab, like when he's in the pocket, it's just so beautiful to see. I see all the highlights, especially from your promo. I was like, oh, I just remember the reason why. Like I started liking Luke way before he got into the UFC. By the way, it was like literally like tough years than before. Was when I started to notice Luke. Now the problem with Luke is like for me, many people if you actually watch this fight and like, Luke, he bleeds really easily. He's like a GSP. Okay, so like that's what I'm saying, that he's not losing this fight. He just opens up really fast. That sounds so wrong. Anyways,
Randy went down again. I really don't see this fight going the distance at this point.
Well, I mean, he's obviously just going for that lucky puncher's chance. That's pretty much what's going on right now.
Who, Randy or Luke?
No, not Luke. Luke knows what he's freaking doing. Leg kick, beautiful, just so freaking textbook. I love it. Tried uppercut by Randy Brown. I get it. You're gonna have to try to stop him. He's gonna keep staying busy. Like that's what I guess this is the perfect example of a fighter who is like shorter. Like obviously Alexander Volkanovski is one of my favorite examples to use, and Luke, obviously, because like this is what you have to do in order to I guess go ahead and win those points and obviously win the round and obviously win a fight. He's just not afraid to do it, and that's one of the reasons why I love watching him. I love watching DC fight as well.
Yeah.
Like an ideal so far. This is an ideal matchup for us because we're both Luke fans.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you didn't even know he was fighting. That's why I told you. Like, over the last 3 fights, like why? I'm like this is why. This is Luke.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I didn't know he was fighting. If I would have known sooner, then yeah, I would have been all over this fight.
I swear to God, I told you like before, but
Hello.
I can't. Is it DS? Nice try. Sorry. Hello again.
Yeah. Yes, nice try.
Okay. I didn't want to butcher. What's up, girl or guy? Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, who wins tonight? Or the other opponent?
Okay, I'm gonna let you.
The other opponent has a name. The other opponent has a name.
Right.
And his
so I'm
name
gonna
is.
let you, babe. I'm gonna let you like take that first because you already know who I think is gonna win, and it's the other opponent. His name is Edmund Shahbazyan, 11-0. Obviously technique is like since he was 10 years old, he was like training with the likes of Ronda Rousey as well. This man or this young boy has been like looked at for a long time, over 10 years in the making. So obviously, I no offense to Derek Brunson, like when he turns it up, he's like he's unstoppable. So I'm not gonna like count it out. I'm just saying like Edmund just he's textbook for me.
Amazing takedown by Brown. I don't know if you saw it yet.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
that was nice.
Now, I mean, like,
yeah,
this is gonna win points if you can't strike with Luke.
I think Luke is still ahead in this round because of the knockdown.
Of course he is. But this is like desperate times call for desperate measures. Okay, obviously Luke, being a calm fighter that he is, gets up and it's fine. Everything's back to normal, standing up.
Yeah, his back is huge.
Right? Didn't we just I was like, I saw his midsection was like bigger too. I was like, did he just? I was like, did he just work out a lot? I mean, he's looking healthy. I'll say that he's looking real healthy. What was I about to say? Okay, so I noticed that look at like how Luke at number 11, like before
wait. What was my prediction?
TKO. I said TKO. You said knockout.
I said knockout or TKO.
That was a deserved bow. Luke with the textbook finish, so dominant. No, okay. What I was about to say was obviously congrats, Luke, and I saw him like we used to see him before in like pay-per-views, but you should see how stacked the welterweight division. That's like indication of how stacked the welterweight division actually is. For Luke to like be a headliner in a fight night, which is not a bad thing whatsoever. It's just that like we're used to seeing him in pay-per-views, at least in the main card. So that just literally shows you how crazy of a division welterweight is and has been
Yeah.
for like a long time, right? So,
Hmm.
oh, he's back. Like I'm excited. I'm excited to see him. Like I just personally thought that like when I watched his other fights before, obviously he's always been like my favorite in those fights. It's just that like
Hmm.
now he's just more aggressive, like making mostly the first move and staying busy, and like that's what I wanted from him in the first place. But he's always been like too much of a patient fighter, in my opinion. And now we're seeing him improve. This is the Luke that like I want to see moving forward. Because he
Yeah.
wasn't consistent.
He's a
We'll admit that.
monster.
Okay, so
I think his striking is always gonna be like above his opponents. The only time it's not is really when he comes across a guy like Wonder Boy, who just has just way too weird of a style that you just can't mimic. That's like the only time he's not gonna have the edge in striking. But other than that, he's always gonna have that upper hand.
now I'm gonna look at some of the welterweight rankings now because I'm actually very curious to see because Luke is about what he's number 11 right now. He
Yeah.
might go up. Okay, welterweight rankings. I mean,
And
sorry,
mhm.
what do you want to say, babe?
I was just gonna say up next we got Calderwood versus Maya. Then obviously the main event is Brunson versus
Jojo! I'm so excited! That's my girl, man. This is
Shahbazyan.
a long time coming, man. Both of them, Luke and Jojo, have been a long time coming for
Mm-hmm.
sure. All right,
Is it
so
safe to say we're both Team Calderwood?
oh yeah. I
Oh
mean, I
yeah.
thought you might like Maya because like she has that BJJ background. Okay, so obviously number 11 is Vicente Luque. Number 10 would be Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, which I would love to see both of them run that back. Honestly, now because like Luque
Really?
is on this next level, yeah, I would
I
love to
don't
see that.
know.
I
I
would love to
think
see
I think
that.
it ends the same way.
I don't know. I mean, you never know because like I feel like Luque has literally improved like just his overall game. His game was already good. We just know that, but now he's just more aggressive. He's staying busy. He's not like taking his sweet ass time with everything. Like so, I want to see how he's gonna especially because like Tom Wonderboy Thompson is just like I could see Luque knocking him down very easily now, especially
Oh,
after seeing his last few fights. I know.
oh,
I'm a Wonderboy fan, by the way, so for me to say that says a lot. All right, so number 9 is Anthony Pettis. And then you got Nate Diaz. That's number 8, and, and you got McNuggets, Conor McGregor at number 7. Oh god, I can't believe he's number 7 because he had that freaking one fight. SMH. Anyways, and then you got Tyron Woodley, the chosen one, number 6. Number 5, Game Bread Jorge Masvidal, who has proven that laxative does work in 6 days to cut 20 pounds. And then you have Leon Edwards, Kobe Covington at number 3, Gilbert Burns. We're a huge fan of that man right there, and obviously the champion, the undisputed champion, Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare. Just seeing those replays,
cool.
it just makes me it reminds
Yeah.
me of why people should be watching Luke. Like honestly, if you want to analyze a beautiful, beautiful technique right there, just like right there, all the leg kicks, just jab, overhands, everything and everything. So I'm gonna watch the interview
Okay.
because I definitely want to see what his plans are moving forward. At number 11, he's so close. Like he's breaking that top 10 again.
Hmm.
Okay, so they're doing like replays. Paul Felder is like, saying like, I want to see that knee knockdown, and that was like what this is one of the second knee KOs like in this card. Jonathan Martinez, headliner for the prelims. Hate that you went over 4.5 pounds. Okay, but that knee KO was beautiful. I know it was beautiful. It's in my story on Instagram. Oh, like, he's been one of my favorites, but like how I feel about people missing weight. And the missing weight by
Uh-huh.
like 4.5 pounds. Like
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. Of course, you'd be upset. You have like a background in nutrition, so.
I do. But it's not just that. It's just like I understand missing weight, 1 or 2 pounds at like over. Okay, it happens. Okay, and I'm not gonna blast someone for that. But 4.5 pounds, it reminds me of, like when Mackenzie Dern missed like freaking 7 pounds. Like oh my goodness, that like literally riled me up right now. Okay, so Lucas, sorry, I was listening to this interview. So like Lucas saying that like he was really proud of his performance tonight? Saying who does he want next? Oh, well, Luke is calling out Nate Diaz, which is
Of course he
interesting.
is. Of course. That would be a good fight, actually.
He did well. I
I'd love
mean,
to
Luke
see that.
has a lot of respect for Diaz, and like honestly, I'm trying to look at their styles. It'd be kind of fun because it's like
Mhm.
you got the brawler with the BJJ background, then you got the textbook striker. That's literally just pushing forward now, and I'm really excited. So that actually would be a fun fight, and that would definitely I think propel him and definitely get him more noticed. It's kind of sad. Many
Yeah.
people should know more about Luke, but it's true. They don't. But
Mhm.
that's fine after this fight, and then when we post the highlights, everybody will know about Luke. So,
For sure.
all right, for two fights. Yeah, I know you had like a bunch of notes. Like, let's just run down, a couple of the topics that we were supposed to talk about. Okay, yeah.
Well, first of all, do you know the background of Calderwood's opponent?
Maya,
Yeah.
I know she has a BJJ background for
Mhm.
sure. Yeah, that was right.
Is she
She
related
was.
to Damian Maya by any chance, or is that
I don't
just
think so.
no? Okay.
They never even said anything about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So like I said, her main background, which I was correct about, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then she got some Muay Thai and boxing in there, so that girl can strike as well. So like very similar, in terms of the matchup between Joanne Calderwood, just because I've watched Joanne Calderwood. God, I don't even know. It
Mhm.
feels like 10 years now. She's been here, and now she has her chance right now, and her background is in Muay Thai, but she obviously knows how to work her way on the ground. So, obviously I'm going to be cheering for her. But I wouldn't be surprised if Maya gives her a hard fight because, they both have
Mhm.
amazing records right now. Joanne Calderwood, 14-4. Really happy for her. Like, she's already been more consistent, in her last few fights. And then you got Jennifer Maya at 17-6. So, these girls, they're not new whatsoever. Please check out their highlights before this fight. Love girl fights, by the way. So, I believe right now they're
So
just showing promo for like the
yeah.
next week's fights, and
Mhm.
we'll definitely do a stream about that. Obviously, I'm trying to think of when those fights are starting. I'm sure I'll be able to catch at least the main card for that. Pending plans. But
Mhm.
it's a heavyweight bout between Derek Lewis, who we all love and laugh at, laugh with, and then you have Alexei Olenek, who is a mastermind on the ground, BJJ style, very similar to Mauricio Verdum. That kind of
Yeah.
that kind of fight style. So I'm excited to see that.
Hmm. Okay.
Olenek, like, here's the thing.
Mhm.
I love me some Derek Lewis. Don't get me wrong, but for some reason, okay, I don't know what it is. I love to see BJJ specialists in heavyweight because it's like such a rarity. It's like a gem. It's like a once in
Yeah.
how many like in terms of fighters that are heavyweight that actually have that specialty, and you everyone who's seen like freaking Alexei Olenek on the ground, like he mauls you. Like he's not just
Mhm.
someone who just knocks you down. Like he has power. He knows what he's doing on the ground. That control is right there. So like I think I don't know, man. I'm just gonna I'm gonna lean towards Olenek. I don't know what the odds are though, but like I'm leaning towards the BJJ specialist for sure
I'm
because
I'm
he does
gonna
have
agree with you there. Yeah.
I mean, like, cause you obviously cheer for anybody who has that BJJ background. That's why I said Jennifer Maya has that BJJ background, so I thought maybe you cheer for her, but you
Yeah,
obviously
but
didn't know much like about that until
Joanne
this fight.
Calderwood, she's just such a sweetie. You just can't
I
not be a huge fan of
know,
her.
like you don't even have to all she has to do is like talk with her cute little Scottish accent and it'd be all badass in the octagon. Just like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, like like she's like obviously really sweet and cute on the outside, but then when she gets in the octagon, like bam, that's just like the
That's the
best
best
combination
compliment.
of life. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
very sweet girl. Jennifer
Yeah.
Maya though, very much a badass as well. So
So on to other news. There was a interesting thing that happened involving Herb Dean and Dan Hardy in one of the previous cards, where apparently like a fight was stopped too late, and Dan Hardy was friends with that fighter, so he got a little bit upset and got kind of up in Herb Dean's face. And I think I'll be able to show the late stoppage right here, if it permits me. Yep.
Dan Hardy needs a haircut. Sorry, gotta say that.
Not over. Come on. Not over. Stop the fight.
Yeah,
Oh
he was
yeah, that's
yelling,
it.
"Stop the fight."
Aldo gets the win by
So that was that, and Dana White reacted like pretty harshly, saying that like you could never like come up to an official like that, and he literally said that if you do that again, I will fire you, like straight up. Like
Well,
that's.
yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna let you
Go ahead. What are your thoughts on
because
that?
here's the thing. Me and you have discussed this in a little bit of detail. Dan
Hmm.
Hardy, what the hell are you doing right now? Okay, I'm not even talking about the fact that you're going up to an official, like, after a fight and like causing a scene. I'm talking about like what you're doing online. Like, I don't give a crap like that you're
Yeah.
dating, the beautiful Veronica Macedo that we all love and cherish. Like, you're just acting like an immature child, like online. Obviously, like, kind of like harassing people that are
A
kids. They're
15-year-old.
literally
Yeah.
kids.
You
They're
got an
literally
argument
not
with
even
a 15-year-old
not even
kid.
like teenage. They're like teenagers, but they're
Yeah.
not like adults yet. So like I
Hmm.
don't know what the hell you're trying to prove. Like, understand, it sucks. Okay, I can't even imagine if I had a friend who was fighting, and I had people fighting that were my friends. I've seen them knocked out, and I understand being disappointed. Okay, but like there's one thing to be disappointed, and there's another thing to be outraged. I mean, and like I think that I'm gonna play both sides because I understand like with late stoppages, things can happen to you in the octagon. Obviously, CTE, a lot of injuries that can last a lifetime. So I understand that part of it, but then obviously it's biased because Dan
Yeah.
Hardy would only say that to his friend who was fighting in there, and I think that it just looks really unprofessional, like from the UFC as an organization's point of view, which I understand
100%.
Dana's point of view, and that's why he
Yeah.
has to be harsh about that. Like, we can't have. Do you know how many friends Paul Felder, freaking Dominic Cruz, like Michael Bisping, like the DC? Do you know how many teammates that they all have? They can't just go
Hmm.
up to like an official and challenge that because that's their job, and maybe if you disagree, you could not just go up to them afterwards and make a huge scene, because like I just think that his erratic behavior is not just about what just happened. We talked about how he's just been off, literally.
Yeah.
Just Dan Hardy,
Mhm.
that me and a bunch of my friends, like, we loved him. Like, we think
Yeah,
he's
me too.
awesome.
Yeah,
This
I
is
think
not the
he's
Dan Hardy.
amazing.
Right, so
Mhm.
there's got to be something going. I don't know if it's a
Yeah.
midlife crisis. I don't know if he just wants to go back in the ring. It could be a bunch of those things
Yeah.
combined. But Dan Hardy, you gotta check yourself, okay? Because like I understand like what it means, like unbiasedly, like like the late stoppage could mean a lot of things, a lot of repercussions. But at the same time, just don't make a fool of yourself. You're making a fool of
Yeah.
yourself, like outside of the freaking octagon, and also obviously it looks really bad on the organization. So Dana White,
Mm.
I understand your point of view as well. That's how I
Yeah,
see.
so I agree pretty much with everything you just said. Like it's I get it, but it's still really unprofessional to just like start yelling at a ref, and get all up in his face. Like if you work for the UFC, no matter who you are. I mean, I love Dan Hardy too. I'm a huge fan of his, but yeah, there's been something up with him lately. Like he's been arguing with 15-year-old kids online, and yeah, I don't know. But one thing for sure is that as of right now, this is the only fight to make right now. It's the only
Yeah,
fight that makes sense
I
right now.
love seeing that online. Herb Dean, I would put my money on Herb Dean at this point because like Dan Hardy, his like fight IQ, his IQ levels are not like his mentality is not there. It's not present. Like the Dan Hardy that we're used to seeing, and like who breaks down all
Yeah.
these fights and the countdowns and all that. Herb Dean
Mm.
would just like look him in the eyes and like sucker punch him, and there you go. Like, for all the 15-year-old that are getting bullied out there, like it's not even a joke. Like, honestly,
It's
here's the
not.
thing.
That's the sad part.
Here's, here's the thing. I would love to see who I guess like who at least supports Dan Hardy's point of view, and also Veronica Macedo. I would love to see like if you have anything to say about this, because like obviously like I have the best partner in the world, but if he did
Oh.
something like that, I'm gonna have to
Please,
disagree.
I would want you to
I
tell
would
me if
smack
I'm
you in
being
the
an
face. Are
idiot.
you kidding me? I mean, what the hell's wrong with you? Sit down, like yell at you for crying out loud. But I love
See,
it.
that's what I have you here for.
Mm, that's true. I do that for nutrition-based purposes too.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and now let's start talking about the future headliners. So the next,
No,
huh?
I don't want to talk about it. No, I don't want to talk about it. Okay, let's
Okay,
go
well,
there.
I know. But anyways, so the next one is going to be UFC 53, Adesanya versus Costa, aka Borrachinha, UFC 253, Saturday, September 19th for the middleweight title. My thoughts, I'm extremely biased. I just don't like Israel Adesanya, so I see Costa knocking him out. I don't know how, but something tells me. I mean, if you look at their similar opponents in the wait, do they even have any similar opponents? Yeah, Yoel Romero. So I mean,
The
Israel
one.
Adesanya, he was kind of like really timid against someone like who's like a heavy power puncher like Yoel, and Costa pretty much ate all of his shots, and he was the first person to really ever put the pressure on Yoel like that. So I don't know. Something tells me that Costa's gonna pull it off and get the title.
I mean, to be fair, like I get what you mean by like Borashina like putting that pressure on him, but obviously Robert Whitaker put that pressure on him too when he was both was a
Not like that.
middleweight champion. I know,
Not
not
like
like
that.
that. Not like that, but they both men are like their chins of gold. Okay, obviously Costa is made out of platinum or something like that because he just ate all those shots. I'll agree with that. I just think that like just because you had similar opponents doesn't mean like because they're different fighters with different
Right.
styles.
Yeah.
So like
Totally.
obviously I understand where you're coming
Mhm.
from. At the same time, like when you fight someone like Yoel Romero, there might be only one or two people that are gonna go up to him and like actually strike with him or put the pressure on, just like
Yeah.
Paulo Costa is. Now, judging from that poster, Costa is creeping me out, so I'm not gonna look at that because like that's just the creepiest stare down ever. I don't like Adesanya either.
I think it's
I've
very
already told you.
seductive.
Huh?
I
What?
think it's very seductive.
Yeah, I think that me and you are seeing two different things. Okay, but I'm just saying. Okay, before like I understand, like I don't like Adesanya either, but I respect the hell out of his like talent and skill. Obviously, head
Most
movement
people
so
think he's gonna
fast.
win.
What is it?
Mhm.
Gisa Fines. Sorry, I'm butchering it. I think Izzy wins by decision. You know what? I think that Izzy wins. I don't know how he's gonna win. I can see him winning. If it goes past like a third round, I can see him winning. If it's like third round, I can see Costa knocking him out. So you know what I mean? Like I'm kind of like I can see both scenarios happening right now. But at the end, I still think Izzy's gonna win just because I feel like technically he's the better fighter. But Costa is Costa, so you never know. Maybe he will, knock him down or knock him out. We shall see. All right, the cutie herself, Joanne Calderwood, is going out. Oh, so excited. Oh, I always want to see you. You remember she was supposed to fight for the belt against Valentina. Now we're not going to talk about that because honestly, Valentina is a beast of her own, So it's kind of like really hard to ever like see JoJo actually, going against her and winning. It's
Yeah.
just you don't see anybody else winning in that division except Valentina, unless she, obviously retires or like someone goes down from bantamweight to flyweight. But
Mhm. I still
she
think
was
she
supposed
beat
to.
Amanda. I think she beat
Yeah,
Amanda.
I mean, yeah, that's the only opponent for me that like I would love to see that run back the third time. So.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, she's just so adorable.
I know.
Especially like when you see the interviews, I'm turning up the volume. Like you're just like the quintessential girl next door from the UK who's a badass in the ring. She's like awesome too. Like she's super
Yeah.
nice to her fans. Like just can't. You just whoever does not like her, please don't comment because we will blast you right now. Just because like she's
Just to go back to the topic real quick, Izzy doesn't like to get hit, and with Costa's pressures style, Izzy definitely going to eat some shots. So yeah, I think that's a
for
pretty
sure.
good assessment. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Izzy, like, he ate shots from Calvin Gastelum. I understand. Okay, not the
Mm.
same power, fine, but he did still eat the shots as well. So he's tough.
Mm.
He is tough. So we're not gonna he doesn't have like a sore chin or whatever. So I understand that for
And
sure.
if they ask what is next to the diamond, we will actually get into that a little bit later. We have that planned.
I love the diamond. I love Dustin Poirier.
So Joanne is entering the fight with a little bit of a hematoma on her forehead. So we'll see if that plays a factor in the fight or not.
Girl went hard. She went ham in that training. No,
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's JoJo. So, I'm so scared though, like, cause seriously, I'm not underestimating Jennifer Maya at all. Like, I just know that JoJo is very, very tough, But Jennifer Maya has that like BJJ background. She's not afraid and not like it's just so easy for her to take someone down. So it's just I'm excited to see what happens. Really good challenge for JoJo. Very good challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, I will say this: as much as I would love to see, I would have loved to see Valentina versus JoJo earlier. I'm kind of glad, because like obviously, Valentina's Valentina. She's a beast in her own right. Like I obviously don't want to see her face JoJo anytime soon. So like JoJo having that experience against someone, with that Muay Thai background like herself, like Valentina Shevchenko as well, like facing someone who has the BJJ background too, would just add to her, experience already. So I'm kind of happy that we're having this fight right now.
Joanna's so cute. She's just literally just like running her fingers along the cage, just like she's like totally
So
nonchalant about everything. I know. She's so adorable.
Freaking.
All right, here we go.
Probably one of the most adorable fighters. All right, I think you're ahead of me like for like 8 seconds, so
Fight hasn't started, and here we go. It's just started for me. Round 1.
So cute. I'm sorry, I can't. Okay.
Okay, so right now, yeah, Joanna's just kind of, they're both just trying to filling each other out, just fainting, looking at each other.
Looking at you.
Every breath you take, every move
Look
you
at
make.
the shoulders on freaking Maya. I was like, holy
Yeah.
crap. Look at those guns right there as well.
I know. Oh, nice left hook by Maya. It's so weird to call someone else Maya besides Damian Maya.
Just call her Jennifer. No, man, she's not backing down, man. She's not backing down.
She's landing good shots on Calderwood. Oh, nice jab by Maya. So far in the first minute, it looks like Maya's getting the upper hand.
Technically speaking, I think she has the upper hand. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I never underestimated her. I just know JoJo's tough, and she has so much experience in the ring, and she's been through like fighters like that before, So that gives me more confidence in her. But obviously a little bit, a little bit timid right now. Maya's looking real, like she looks like she's in her pocket, and that's kind of scary. She found
really
Bruce really early on.
I'm really excited to see this go to the ground.
But the thing that I love about this matchup, because like JoJo, like she's great at like distancing herself, and she usually has like a bigger reach and a little bit of a height advantage. So like that would definitely bear her an advantage during this fight.
Beautiful straight right by Maya. Yeah, she's really picking Joanna apart a little bit right now.
I want to see who has better cardio if this goes
That's
to
a good question.
Round. You already know that's always been my question, especially for guys usually.
Yeah. Yeah, cardio is everything.
And Maya, obviously one of her specialties is boxing too. So you can see that, with her stance and how she moves.
Beautiful trick taken up by Calderwood.
There you go. I love her kicks. Like Calderwood's, like her kicks are literally some of my favorite things. Woohoo!
Yeah, she landed like 2 nice push kicks in the earlier part of the fight.
Here's the thing for me, like obviously this is great, like this is kind of like Calderwood's world, but it's also Maya's world. Like she has that BJJ background, right? So like, has to be careful. She really has to, like, obviously listen to her corner. At the same time, she has her own intuition. I'm not scared, okay? Like I know she knows what she's doing. At the same time, but Maya also knows how to transition into like making this her game too.
So. Right now, Maya's in a position to transition to an omoplata. I don't know if she's going to go for it.
I don't know if she can go for it. I'm trying to look at it myself, but you know more.
She's in that position if she just adjusts a little bit, but I think Joanne recognizes it and she's trying to resist.
Yeah, JoJo, that's my girl. She's smart, you know what I mean? Like she's so aware of her surroundings. Like I don't think many people understand what that means. Do you know how many fighters, like, you try to go for something, but you're not aware of, 1 or 2 mistakes, and then bam, you get submitted. Right? But JoJo's very, like, she's calm. I'm not surprised at this right now. I knew, like, on the ground, Maya was gonna try to go for some type of submission, because that's what she's looking for.
She's thinking for an armbar. I'm seeing a little bit. That she thought about it earlier. Yeah, Maya's guard is definitely dangerous, to say the least. Joanna has to be really careful.
She looks comfortable.
She does, yeah. But she's definitely in a bit of danger. She can't get comfortable too much.
I think she has to adjust. Like, obviously, I'm no BJJ expert, but I've seen a few.
Oh, there's the armbar. She's got it.
That's
I don't know if
down.
she has it locked in, but she's in position.
I don't know if she got it locked in either. In that angle, that's a tough angle.
I think she's
break my neck.
about as close to getting it locked in as you can get. I think she might have it.
Okay, now
Joanna's defending
we're
with
looking
speed.
at it now. Yeah.
That might be it. That might be it.
Well,
Wow,
Jojo's
and that's the
moving.
fight. That's the fight. Beautiful, beautiful armbar by Maya. That was incredible.
I'm not sad. I'm sorry. I can't be sad about that.
I can't either. I
told you she's dangerous. This
I love a
girl's
submission.
dangerous right here.
Yeah, I love Joanna, but that was beautiful.
This is why I told you. I'm glad that she's not facing Valentina right now because of this. Valentina's so good at freaking everything. Imagine, like, at one mistake and Valentina would freaking, like, capitalize on that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I just feel like Jojo just, like, at that point, like, she was just kind of stagnant. Like, I don't know if she knew if she could move around and, like, make it easier upon herself to get out of that grip. But, that's just my.
I mean, I think that Maya just set it up extremely well. Like once you have it that locked in, it's pretty hard to escape from that.
It was textbook. Like, she literally went from 1 to 5 steps, and there you go.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's okay. Like, JoJo's going back. It's okay. She's probably gonna, like, do an interview where she's so cute and, like, grateful for everything. We're just gonna fall in love with her all over again. And Maya, holy shit! Like I told you, her BJJ, which I mentioned, like, usually throughout this whole entire, commentary of this fight, amazing. Can't get mad at that. You're an incredible girl. I love her boxing stance too. I haven't really paid attention because I've seen a lot of her BJJ, play, and now it's great to see that she's definitely a threat.
Are you gonna want to listen to the interview?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
No, definitely. Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be. I definitely want to see if she's gonna challenge someone. Obviously up there. By the way, she definitely deserves it. Now that I think about it, right? Because, like, I would love to see, like, those matchups between her and Valentina eventually. Whatever happens. Because she could technically go for the belt because JoJo was supposed to fight Valentina too. When you beat JoJo, there is a chance for you to go for that belt.
Yeah.
And it'd be so much fun, actually, because you got someone who's a boxer who does have the Muay Thai experience. But obviously, Valentina is Valentina, man. She got the best, like, technique, hands down, skill that I've ever seen in my life. And live 2 times, as a women's fighter too, like, so it'd be fun to see her against Maya, who obviously looks really sharp. But you obviously JoJo love you. Not saying anything bad about you, but like Valentina's on next level, right? So you can see, like, if she ever faced someone like Valentina, that would be the probably the ultimate test. Would be anybody who would beat her.
Yeah, I feel bad for JoJo, but she'll be back. I can't feel too bad with a beautiful armbar like that. It was perfectly set up.
I feel bad, but then, like, it was just so beautiful to watch each and every step in that transition that I can't even feel bad right now. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the smartest thing to be playing in Maya's guard like that.
That's why I said when he said, like, you were excited to see her on the ground. Like, I'm not excited because I already know, like, what could happen, if that makes sense. So, congrats, Jennifer Maya. Damn, girl, you're a beast and a half, especially on the ground.
Especially. And the Brazilian, of course.
Yeah.
The Brazilians are taking over.
They have technically taken over from time to time.
Again, yeah.
Just that, look at that boxing right there. I'm like, oh, and then she mixed in with that Muay Thai, and then obviously that BJJ at the end. Just like a great showcase of all her skills.
Yeah. So JoJo tried to, like, put her knee on Maya's chin to, like, try to get her to let go of the position, but that just didn't work. Maya just had it extremely locked in. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. She knew what she was doing.
Oh, that was nasty.
Nasty, beautiful, badass, all of the above. Okay, let's see this interview right now. So basically, Phil Felder was asking her like how she felt about her performance. Translator, you know.
Tô me sentindo cada vez mais pronta e perto de chegar a disputar o título. Então, essa luta foi uma prova de onde eu tô mostrando uma nova direção.
Translating, I do not know how to speak Portuguese, unfortunately. She's happy about her performance, very much. So then now they're just kind of like replaying some of her best work in this performance. You know, especially like the lead up to that armbar. Freaking love submissions, man. I told you, man. That's like my favorite thing to watch is submission.
Me too.
I mean, yeah, you got that. You got that BJJ background bias, all that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling if I ever did train, it'd be like BJJ or Muay Thai or both. Like I would literally try to rip someone's arm off, and it wouldn't be fun. I would get kicked out of the gym. I would have so much fun doing it. It would get to my ego. That's one of the reasons why I didn't want to train too, because I know like my personality would want to compete, but like I really don't have the time to. Like you know that I'm like so caught up in organizing and doing all of these amazing projects for Unwrapped Sports and Fights Unwrapped and Ladies of Unwrapped, which we have a stream coming up next Sunday. Me and the ladies are going to be talking about the women that inspire us, that are actually working in the sports industry, that are coaches and assistants of major league sports. So I'm talking NFL, NHL, MLB, right? So it's pretty amazing. So we're doing that next week, and I can't believe it is pretty early.
Yeah.
Look at the time, especially for you, right? Because you got that Pacific time, West Coast difference. I'm excited to see this trailer right now because it's talking about Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. I used to love that. Like a lot of my favorite fighters came from that, especially prospects, including Edmund Sebastian, who is headlining tonight's main event coming up, and obviously Macy Barber, flyweight. All right, let's see when they're actually starting. I might actually follow this. I don't know if you're interested. I'll be interested.
I've never actually watched one, but yeah, I'd be down to watch one.
Oh, babe.
Okay, and we should. Okay, and
It'd
back
be so
to
cool.
the.
You know who else? Like my girl Tracy came from Tuesday Night Contender Series. That's right. See, like so many of the greatest like prospects right now come from that, and so it's really exciting to see. Especially like Dana White's like reactions to it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, okay. And back to the future headliners. After UFC 253 is obviously 254, Khabib versus Gaethje, and we know how you feel about that fight. So it is back on.
You already know it's not just about the fight.
I know, but it is back on for those of you. For those of you who didn't know, Khabib had to pull out of the fight because unfortunately, his father Abdulmagomedov passed away due to he had like heart issues, and then he also got COVID, which obviously made it worse. So unfortunately, he passed away, and he was like obviously a huge influence to Khabib's life, and really just the entire.
He was the influence. He was the influence. Let's get that right.
Not only not only to Khabib, but pretty much almost all the fighters from Dagestan. So losing him obviously losing a father would affect anybody. So Khabib pulled out of the fight, but apparently now he's changed his mind and he's ready to go at it against Gaethje on October 24th.
All right. So do you want me to comment on that first? I guess because
Sure.
Okay, so if anyone does not know, my favorite current UFC fighter for a couple years now is the lightweight champion. That's right, Khabib Nurmagomedov, 20-0 undefeated. And unfortunately, like Jonathan said, he did lose his father. It feels like a lot of Dagestan has lost their father figure in that sense, and like pretty much, Khabib wouldn't be where he was unless like his father. It was literally his father's guidance and turning him into the fighter and the champion that he is, and all the morals and all the principles that he has is literally from his father. So that's why when he originally backed out of that fight against the interim lightweight champ Justin Gaethje, I was not surprised. It's part of like a religion kind of cultural aspect of theirs for mourning, right? But then at the same time, I think I told you, and I probably said this in the stream, no joke, earlier, that like he is going to want to fight Gaethje, regardless of what happens
Yeah.
with his brother. And I also said, which I don't know, I have mixed feelings about what I predicted, saying that if his father unfortunately passes away, he would have the more motivation, especially to pretty much murder Justin Gaethje and his fight for 29-0. So that's happening October. Is it 24th? If I'm not mistaken, I
Yes.
definitely gotta book that
24th.
off. I definitely gotta book that off for sure.
Yeah.
Like Khabib is like my favorite, and like knowing that he has 2 more fights left in his career, it makes me a little bit sad. I know that you, babe, you already know I lost a coworker today, so I'm not in the best mood to think about my
Well,
favorite
don't
fighter.
don't say it like that. You make it sound like your coworker passed away.
No, man, you know what I mean. I'm so dramatic.
Yeah.
It's like I freaking have worked with this person for 12. It feels like 12 years. Sorry, 4 years, but it feels like longer. And like they taught me a lot of things. They were a mother figure to me. So, anyways, I'm not in the best mood to like talk about this. But basically, because of what I predicted, because of the fact that I feel like he has extra motivation now than ever, especially for his wish and also his father's wish to retire at 30-0. He is going to beat Justin Gaethje. Now, he's always had the tools and the resources, obviously being the most dominant fighter and the most dominant wrestler in the UFC. He had all those resources going into it, but, Justin Gaethje is no joke. Best knockout power in that division, and also, with that collegiate wrestling background, he has that working for him. Also, with amazing coach like Trevor Whitman,
Yeah.
that he has a lot of ways to beat Khabib or have that advantage, right? So, but at the same time, I think that Khabib has obviously one of the smartest fight IQs I've ever seen in my life. He only cares about winning. He doesn't care about being famous like Conor McGregor. He cares about being the best champion fighter there is in that division. And I think that he's just overall the better fighter, and he'll come up on top. And it'll be 29-0, and he'll have 1 more fight left in his career come October. I feel like I've memorized that, but I honestly just that's all
Pretty much
I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about this fight for a while now.
So I totally agree that Khabib's going to be the heavy favorite, but we cannot forget that Justin Gaethje is extremely dangerous stylistically for Khabib, because normally Khabib, the way he takes people down, he puts them up against the cage and drags them down from there. Justin Gaethje, like, he recognizes that, and he definitely has the credentials to be able to keep Khabib from pressuring him up against the cage, and he definitely has the striking and the power to be able to knock Khabib out if Khabib entertains that, striking with
I
him.
don't think you will.
But the chip in Justin Gaethje's armor is his cardio. So if Khabib forces Gaethje to wrestle pretty much early on, like Gaethje himself has said that wrestling is what gets him extremely tired. That's why he doesn't like to do it. So if Gaethje can manage, if Khabib can manage to put that pressure on him and keep that wrestling on him, then I don't see Justin making that out past round 2.
Let's just say, like, in terms of if you make like 1,000 simulations on how this fight is gonna go, more times than none, Khabib is gonna come up on top for like so many
Yeah.
reasons, And like I get like obviously amazing insight. I don't know if it was just Gaethje. I don't know if it was his coach, brilliant coach Trevor Whitman, who made that insight. And at the same time, it's just one thing, like compared to how Khabib has dominated other fighters. Now, I know I've talked about this, and like especially in my chats with the Fights Unwrapped department. Shout outs to Unwrapped Sports, and I know one of them has said like, well, Khabib has like he's fought some cans. I'm like, well, you know why? Because the whole Tony Ferguson fight has always been pushed back. That's literally the reason. Right now, and like he's fought Conor, who like at that time was considered elite. I'll give him that. He's obviously fought Dustin Poirier as well, who is quite elite. Talking about the diamond early, and now he's. I don't think Justin Gaethje is the ultimate test. I don't think GSP is the ultimate test. I think that Tony Ferguson is, and we've already talked about that
Yeah.
in lengthy discussions. Now, I understand if Khabib wants GSP at the end, I'm not going to fight him on that because it's his last fight, okay? It's his legacy and his career, but, like, I would totally petition for him to change his mind.
I don't
you
know.
know?
I don't know if that would be his last fight because I think his father did really want to see him and Tony fight. So I don't know if he'll like honestly. I think Khabib is just like at the end of the day he's a competitor. So I think he's gonna want to settle the score with Tony. I think he's gonna at least try to make that fight happen one more time.
I think that, how I see this? I see, like, pending and assuming that he's going to beat Justin Gaethje in October, I would love to see him fight Tony first and then end it with
Mhm.
GSP. Like, for me, that's like a storybook ending. You beat all the fighters in that division, and then you're like, what's left? If I were to create the promo for it, it'd be like, what's left? I already beat everybody, including the person that, like, got away from me for so long. Oh, wait. The what's left is the best, in the world. Like, come on. Khabib, you're next. I'm not Khabib.
So this was the next slide, but we pretty much just already got into it. So obviously
Yeah.
he has two more fights, supposedly
Why
30-0.
not both?
Would he be
Why
the
not both?
GOAT? Would he be the UFC GOAT if he retires at 30-0? In my
I mean,
opinion,
trust me,
yes.
that's like a huge. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think that many
Yeah.
people wouldn't consider him the GOAT because nobody's ever technically done that before.
Mhm.
I don't care if people are saying that, like, oh, he hasn't moved up a division. You know what? You can, like, just go to hell because, like, honestly, like,
Mhm.
it's his legacy. He wants to be the best lightweight, in the world. You cannot. Have you seen people that have held two titles? It's always been one division that's more dominant than the other. Even Amanda Nunes, who obviously I respect a lot of ways. Featherweight is not even a division. Okay, let's just not. Okay, talk about that. But, like, at the same time, what Conor McGregor, two divisions, always never defend his belt. Henry Cejudo will probably defend his belt, like, only a few times when it came
Mhm.
to flyweight, not even, right?
Yeah.
So it's always been like that. So, like, I think that people that say that, I'm just like, you know what? Like, I would rather concentrate my efforts on being the best lightweight fighter, and obviously that translates into the best fighter at 30-0 with that
Yeah.
championship streak, right? So of course, why isn't he the GOAT? Like, I'm not being biased, but you know what I mean. Like, just looking at everybody else's figures from back then that were
Yeah.
champion as well, it's hard to mimic that. I don't think
Mhm.
anybody would ever come close, honestly, to mimic if Khabib goes 30-0. Not
Yeah.
gonna not gonna
So the GSP fight, I don't know if you saw this, but there was like a really old embedded video. I think it was UFC 207 where Khabib like he met GSP and he said that that's his father's number one dream fight for him to fight George St. Pierre. So don't have a doubt that he would choose fighting GSP over Tony Ferguson. I think like that like if you had to pick one, I think he's gonna pick GSP. I think he's gonna pick both, but if he had to pick one, I'm pretty sure he'd go with GSP. And so the
Yeah,
question is,
yeah.
would it be at 155 or 170?
Well, honestly, I that's not the question I have right now. Is that I actually think that family is always first. Family, religion, culture has
Mhm.
always been first for Khabib, which is obviously super admirable. And so I think that GSP will be that. But I just maybe if I can, like, just telepathically say to Khabib, fight Tony first and then fight GSP. Like, that would be like for me the ultimate ending to his career. Like, just with an asterisk right there,
I
with,
don't
like,
know.
GSP. I would love that because, like, it's tough, man. If
I think
I was
Tony should be his last fight.
yeah, but
That
I'm saying
fight has
I want
been
both.
built up
I'm
over
greedy,
years,
man. Like, I want both of them, and like that. If you do both fights, and like
but only
obviously,
one can be the last fight, and I think that should be Tony.
I mean, like, obviously 30-0 looks way better. But I'm just saying, like, as a competitor,
Mhm.
if you were to cement your legacy in that division, you have to fight Tony, not GSP. That's like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's very obvious,
Yeah,
right? If you fight GSP, like, a lot of the value and a lot of fans, whether they're casual, amateur, or hardcore, it kind of gets lost because we've just seen Khabib just he kind of bulldoze his way throughout the lightweight division, right?
yeah,
He's never really taken that much of a money fight. Connor is also lightweight, so you can't really count that, even though that was quite the money fight, and they have the rivalry and all that, right? So, of course, like, if he had to choose one fight at the end, I prefer Tony Ferguson. But if he decides to fight GSP, I'm not gonna be surprised. Like, it's for his dad. It's for his legacy, like what they dreamt of for so long for his career.
Probably gonna be GSP.
That's what F1 guy says. I know, right? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just, how we are, like hardcore fans. Like we just want the Tony fight to happen so bad.
Yeah.
And it would make sense too. All right.
Do you have any prediction on that fight?
Oh, that's tough for me. Like I'm leaning towards Khabib. I'm not saying because the GSP like has been training too. It's just that Khabib, like, there's just so much more motivation for him. Like GSP is like he's coming off. He's 40 years old or whatever, and he's coming off like this retirement, saying like, "Oh, now I'm intrigued," but. That's not motivation. Like, that's not enough motivation for me.
I don't know. I disagree. I disagree, but GSP is different. GSP is GSP. He's different. His mindset is different. Work ethic, different. Everything.
No, but that's also
he was abducted by aliens. He was abducted by aliens, so he has that alien DNA power.
Both of them, first of all, have very,
GSP was not impressed with any of Khabib's performances. You need to understand that. Not impressed, even a little bit.
Of course, because it's GSP. He's Canadian. We're not impressed by anything. Shout out to the Canadian fighters. Put that on the map.
So, in my opinion, I think that if it's at 170, I have no doubt that GSP wins. But if it's at 155 and GSP tries to go for that third title, that would probably make GSP the GOAT if he wins that fight at 155. But that's really the only question I have. If it's at 155, I don't know if GSP is gonna be like GSP as he's used to being because of the weight cut. But yeah, that's only, in my opinion, that's the only way I see Khabib winning. If he goes to 170, I don't think he has a chance, in my opinion.
No, I don't. I don't think that Khabib should go to 170. It makes no sense. At the same time, because if you're challenging for that belt, you go to 155.
Well, that's the thing. Is he challenging for the belt, or are they just trying to put this super fight together? Because this fight is for Khabib's legacy. It's not really, as Khabib has been wanting this fight since like more than the title. Like before that, this was his father's dream fight for him, like forever. So I don't really know.
Just do Tony and then GSP. Sorry, I just greedy. Okay. Also, let's just sidetrack from that because this middleweight main event is about to start. Derek Brunson versus Edmund Shahbazyan. So excited. I gotta pee. I'm gonna have to hold it in. Damn it.
Now we got the tail of the tape here. So Brunson has a record of 20-7, and Shahbazyan has a record of 11-0.
No, that's right. That's right.
9 knockouts, 1 submission. Wow, that's a pretty high knockout rate.
In the octagon. Sorry, I don't like the blonde hair. Chris Brown Jr.
Oh, Chris Brown Jr.
I always said like him and Adesanya decided to Chris Brown it.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Nobody does.
I'm obviously a fan of dyeing hair, but I can't roll with that.
I wonder why. I wonder who made you a fan. Dyeing.
Anyways, back to the fight. So you said you had Shahbazyan winning, right?
Of course I do. Of course I do. I've been a huge fan of his, and Brunson has never really impressed me.
So this is going to be a split fight in the UFC.
You know that I care about consistency more than anything when it comes to fighters and how good they are, right? Consistency is key.
Yes, babe, I know.
Okay, so
wow, so Brunson is the plus 290 underdog.
Well, I mean, because I'm looking at his record, and Shahbazyan just been killing it, lately. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I don't know much about Shahbazyan, to be honest. This is the first time I'm going to watch.
You poor thing. He has submissions and KOs galore. Okay, you got to check out those highlights very, very soon. All right, let's see what happens. I'm scared, but I'm excited at the same time because I don't count out Brunson, even though I'm not impressed by him.
Do you see Shahbazyan as a future title contender?
Hells yeah, he's so young and he has so much to learn.
Mhm.
He's like, he has the technique down, just like how like Calvin Cater, like that technique down to me, and like just getting your feet off the ground, in this division. It's amazing. Can't believe these two are middleweights. They just don't look like middleweights to me, like at all. Shahbazyan being a patient fighter as I know him to be.
So he's more of a patient striker.
Yeah, he's obviously great on the ground. Literally, that's one of the reasons why Ronda Rousey, when she was on the phone with one of the reporters, I believe, she was beaming because she's seen this kid grow up.
Hmm.
And having that judo background, having grappling, BJJ, and all that. Like, ever since she was 10 years old, he's been in the gym grinding, and now he's here, 5 fights into the UFC. Still fresh, still young, still got a lot to learn, and I'm glad that he's facing someone like Derek Brunson to be a really good test for him moving forward. A lot of them like feeling each other out in a way, trying new things, seeing how the other one reacts. Very cat and mouse, like just like how Max Holloway does it. So sad, man. He's still my champion. I live in denial. I live in denial that like Alexander Volkanovski's not champion right now. Run that
Yeah,
back.
they've been saying that they're probably gonna run that fight back next.
They should run that back. Are you kidding me? Even the president and his kids said that they're like, God damn it, like that fight should not be the way it was. Goddamn judges, like they literally just like made this whole argument about the judges. Like, well, you have to pick better judges right there. I'm saying, just saying.
Oh, nice pressure by Brunson. Oh, beautiful takedown by Brunson. He landed a nice straight and then just got him up against the cage. Whoa. He's got his back now. I don't know, babe.
Completely.
Looks like your guy's in danger. You're shitting bricks right now.
Calm down, okay? Jesus Christ. You think I'm scared right now?
It's not looking good right now. That's all I can say. Oh, elbow by Brunson.
Yeah. No, Brunson has all the resources to be a great fighter, maybe a championship contender, but like I don't know why. Something about him just doesn't interest me that much. Woo! I love that. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Shahbazyan is not out of this fight.
Oh, I'm not even close.
Gun.
Oh, it's looking bad, babe.
Shut up. You should have seen your face. You should have seen your face. You were like dead quiet for like those 10 seconds.
Oh
no.
Like,
oh no.
I need to concentrate on what's happening.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. Love you.
I love you too, you little asshole.
I thought I was a bimbo to you.
Only my bimbo.
People think that we're just like so weird.
I don't remember Brunson having too good of a gas tank.
Mm-hmm. That's why it's like smiling. Oh man. You just like warm my heart with you know what I mean? Like the things that warm my heart are so different. I'm like I look girly, I'm somewhat girly, but I'm mostly a tomboy. And like little things like that for some reason get to me in a good way. So obviously Brunson working clinch, at least what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
My time is 50 seconds.
Okay, we're only 4 seconds apart. But we're in sync all the time.
All the time.
So cute. Maybe thanks for putting me on Instagram.
Oh. I had to. That moment was too special.
And also look at me. No, kidding.
You're right. You're right.
Showing you off too. I love showing you off. You know that. I have you on my Instagram. You're the only person that I have on my Instagram that I've dating. So you should feel special.
I think you only have me on there because I'm your biggest draw.
It's both.
Check the
Dave.
numbers.
It's
Check
both.
the
I
numbers.
love showing you off. You already know
I get the
that.
highest numbers.
I literally have you on my butt. You know, like people see that and they're like, "Who's that?" Okay.
Click. Oh
my unwrapped family already loves you. Okay. Even the fights unwrapped, they're just like, "Oh, I like his opinions a lot." Like, I'm not telling him
Oh.
that, and I just did.
Oh, you never told me that, jerk.
No, I tell you. No, you
Oh, I can't believe you never told me that.
Shout outs to
What else? What
Shout
else
out
haven't you told me?
you. They love my significant other. I love your
Who?
opinions. Shadow, you'll see him
Who's that?
on the Fights and Rant, and Ali Carr, the host of 4th and 26th Pod. Shout out to that, too.
Can't believe you didn't tell me. Who do you think you are, keeping that information from me?
Your ego would just explode, man. I'm not for that.
No, it wouldn't. I don't even. I'm not even that into this
I'm
stuff.
your biggest draw. Really?
It's a
Okay, let's
joke.
just
Oh
go
my
back to the fight.
god.
Let me just go back to the fight. Seeing the replays, obviously, Brunson with amazing
You know what?
takedown. Shahbazyan with the striking. Damn. Love you.
Ashley, you're kind of annoying me right now. Oh, I love you too.
Annoy you?
I don't think you've been keeping up your part of the deal. Because I bought you food.
Daddy. I'm so sorry, Daddy.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
You're gonna be like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, just don't ask, okay? Alright, so second round just started.
You just got totally sidetracked from the fight.
Huh? What do you
You just
say?
got totally sidetracked from the fight.
No, I know. I've been trying to push it back because I'm a huge Sebastian fan. So Sebastian like staying more busy, like towards the first part of the fight, or the first part of the round.
Mm-hmm.
Still a patient fighter, picking his shots. They're talking about the commentators are talking about how he has that background with Ronda Rousey, obviously with Coach Edmond, who I absolutely can't stand.
Beautiful single leg by Brunson. He literally picked him up and walked to the cage. Oh, but Shahbazyan's right back up. Yeah, Brunson looks like he's putting up a really good fight. He might be winning.
Oh, he is. So,
I don't know. He might be
he
winning.
could be winning. For sure he can. He like first round, there's a good chance he won that first round.
Mm.
Really good chance, actually.
I think you're nervous.
No. The best part about Shahbazyan is that like I'm not scared when he goes to the ground, like because he just picks himself back up and like he just looks like the most calm fighter, even though he's quite young and has still a lot to go.
Mm.
Oh,
Brunson
Brunson, go ahead and gas yourself out, okay?
I don't know. He does not look tired of like one bit to me right now.
I know, right now.
Right now, I mean the fight's already halfway over.
You already know. I have like the sense when I know that somebody is getting tired. You know.
Mm.
Hold on, eye poke. Babe, I gotta pee. Damn it!
Of course you do.
Can I just pee? You know how quick I pee? I'll be back. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm alone on the stream. What was the other news that we had planned? Oh yeah, so the most notable wins is Shahbazyan beat Brad Tavares. I think that was pretty much the fight that got him on the map, really. That's the fight that everyone kept playing on Twitter. And all right, the fight's restarted. Looks like it's just me. So yeah, so far I can't say that Brunson looks at all tired to me. He's still moving exactly the same as he was when the fight started. And he's going for the single leg again. Shahbazyan pulls out of it. The striking, yes, Shahbazyan does have the upper hand, but Brunson is definitely holding his own. He does not look out of place here at all. He has a really interesting way of striking. Like he puts him up against the cage and he just starts hammering from there. Oh, and Shahbazyan's going for the takedown now, but Brunson defends it immediately. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it looks like Shahbazyan might be wilting to the pressure a little bit. Nice knee by Brunson.
Yeah, I love his
and Hawaii has returned.
Yeah.
So yeah, Shahbazyan's still trying to fight back, but it looked like the pressure of Brunson kind of got to him a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, like at the same time, when I think about this, like Sebastian, I'm glad. Like I said, he's facing more, elite fighters. No offense to his other opponents, and that's a real test to him. So, we'll see how he fares. There's still this round and another round left.
There goes Brunson again with the pressure, with the cage pressure and the striking. Yeah, I was just saying he has like a really interesting way of striking. Like it's always when like he has him up against the cage and he just sort of like leans forward and just starts hammering, and then he's just mixing
It's
takedowns from
effective.
there.
Yeah, it's very effective. I'll say that.
Especially right now. Shahbazyan looks like he's the one that's getting really tired more than Brunson.
No, he's definitely getting tired. I can see that. I just came back. So.
And he's got him down again. Beautiful trip.
I think the thing that I underestimated about Brunson is how freaking fast he is.
Yeah.
Because
really
especially because I know Edmund Sebastian, when he hits, like, and it hurts, but, Brunson has been so fast, and then, like, his transitions were beautiful, the timing of it was impeccable, obviously showing why he is the underdog, that if anyone better on him, they're going to get some money tonight.
And he's in mount ground and pounding right now. He's got his back now. Yeah, I don't know if Shahbazyan's going to make it past the third round.
He has to circle. He has to, like, do something. You got to keep moving.
He's got to shrimp away.
Yeah.
Create some space. But good luck trying to do that with Derek Brunson on top of you.
No, this man is not stopping. He is on the train to victory right now. Ground and pound style. It's raining
Chris
shots.
Brown is no joke.
Right? Instead of raining men, it's raining shots. Holy crap. a lot of damage, that Edmund Sebastian has taken.
Well, massive elbow cut Shahbazyan right open. Oh! I think the fight is over.
Nope, saved by the bell.
Oh, wow, that was close. That was so close to being stopped.
That was a nice cut, though.
It looked like he almost went limp there.
Look what I can see how Sebastian is, because when he leaned back, back side from the cage.
Yeah, that would have been over if there would have been 10 more seconds, even 5 more seconds.
Oh yeah, I know. It's just like, remember that TJ Cody fight? That's a lot of people saying that too.
Nah, TJ was in it. Are you talking about the first fight when TJ got knocked down?
Yeah.
He was rocked, but I think he was.
Yeah,
okay.
but like, if you added 10 more seconds, Cody would have been.
I don't.
You know that.
I don't know about that, babe. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about your bias either.
Oh, how dare you!
You love TJ, okay? Shut up, right?
I love Cody too. I've been like.
No, you love TJ more. Don't give me that crap.
I do, but I was looking at it objectively, okay?
I am looking at this objectively.
Okay?
Look at what the hell.
I've watched that fight. It's like my favorite bantamweight fight. I've watched it. You don't know how many times.
We should watch it together.
We should.
Yeah,
we always say that, but we never watch it.
No, after this, can we watch it together?
I'm down if you're down.
I'm always down. You know that.
I don't know. You're not down for some stuff.
Hey! Don't make me.
What? That's what you get for not telling me and keeping that information from me.
Come on, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let me just concentrate on the fights.
Fine.
Before we get sidetracked again.
And Brunson used the same trip again. Oh, and that's it. That's the fight. As soon as it went down, Herbine stopped the fight.
He can defend himself.
Beautiful performance by Derek Brunson. I mean, Chris Brown.
Derek Brunson. It's sad when you see a streak like that just die.
Yeah.
But he's young. He'll be back. I'm just disappointed because I honestly just can't with Derek Brunson. He's honestly he's really good. But then I try to think of who in the middleweight up there, you know what I mean? That obviously is not Edmund Sebastian, who's way better, way more elite than that. I don't know how he's gonna fare with that. All right, so let me just look at the middleweight rankings right now, just because like I don't have any confidence that he will actually do very well with the top 10, right? So yeah, like I look at it right now, like
I agree, but I think he's definitely improved. Nonetheless,
no, for sure, he looks great. I mean, he's probably looked the best that he's ever looked.
you look great.
He always looked great.
True.
So I'm looking at the um middleweight rankings, and so yeah,
That's
even
death
though
row right there.
hmm?
Good luck. That's death row right there. The middleweight
Mm,
rankings,
I
middleweight
know.
top 5 is crazy.
Yeah, you got number 5 Darren Till, number 4 Jared Cannonier, Yoel Romero at number 3, Portashina, Paulo Costa at number 2, Robert Whitaker at number 1, and obviously Ezra Adesanya at
Hmm.
championship. So I think
Yeah.
that out of those 5, there's only one person that I think that's going to dethrone Israel Adesanya out of those 5 that I
Who would
mentioned.
that be?
It's got to be Robert Whitaker. I can't, no offense to Borashina, just Robert Whitaker is just so well rounded. He's back. That was an
Hmm.
amazing performance against Darren Till, and like
Yeah.
he's the only person, in my opinion, or fighter that has like everything, all the resources to beat Israel Adesanya. Whether it would happen or not, we'll see. It could be after this fight, right, against Paulo Costa. Well, maybe Robert Whitaker will get his rematch, pending if Israel Adesanya actually wins this fight, which I think he will. But I can't see like Yoel Romero. Like we've had that. We've been through that road before. Paulo Costa is the only thing
Mm.
that I can see. Jared Canyon, no offense, not going to beat Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya is so fast. His head movement is ridiculous. And obviously Darren Till has a lot of work to do still in that division. All right.
Mm.
So I know you have a few notes left because we obviously had a few things that we want, like subjects we wanted to cover.
Hmm.
So did you
So
want
I
to
guess
cover
we
any of the?
didn't.
Yeah.
Going back to the GSP versus Khabib. So yeah, they're definitely both interested. So originally, originally GSP said that he wouldn't want to come back, and he pretty much shot down the idea of coming back against Usman. But as soon as he heard that Dana White would put the fight together for Khabib, that he said, "Damn! Just when I thought I'd have peace of mind, I look forward to watching Khabib and Gaethje in October. Best of luck to them." So GSP is definitely, like, no questions, interested in that fight. And then obviously Khabib has always been interested in that fight. And this is apparently his plan: October for Justin and April for GSP. So I think there's no question that he would choose GSP over Tony.
Mm,
But I think he's gonna choose both. But if you had to pick one, I see it being
why
GSP.
pick one? Be greedy. You're like the best champion in the UFC. Okay, I'm sorry.
So
Because
yeah, that's mhm.
they're two different things. Okay, like for me, you pick Tony. That literally is your game plan from from start. Especially when you enter the UFC, was to be the best lightweight fighter champion in the world, right?
Yeah,
So picking Tony would there's no asterisks. They'd be like, okay, so you're the best lightweight in the world. Wait, hold on, but you didn't beat the man that you were supposed to. That like
yeah.
obviously was an interim champion. Was obviously like with
Especially if
all
Tony gets
yeah.
the belt once Khabib is gone, then that'll be like a huge deal.
So were you going to come back? Like here's my thing. Like so GSP, everybody knows GSP was my first favorite fighter of all time when it came to UFC and MMA. All right, but then when he retired, like I understand why he retired. Everybody has their own personal reasons. Don't hate on him for retiring. Like it was the right time at the moment, and like he came back to get that middleweight belt. Like to me, honestly, as much as I love GSP, it's just like you're always coming back just to get a belt, but you're never going to defend it. You just want that belt, right? Like that's
Mhm.
what it is. He's not there to stay there and defend it. He didn't stay in middleweight. He literally just said after the fight that he was not going to stay in middleweight. So
Yeah,
to me, it's a little bit pointless. Like I understand like Khabib and his dad's like dream goal, whatever, was to fight GSP, but like if you think about long term, fighting Tony makes way more sense for that division, for the
Yeah.
legacy, for both those fighters, and obviously for the UFC. The UFC, like, fine, you get promo for GSP, but like, this long term, people are gonna be like, okay, so what? He's just gonna GSP might win the belt, and then what? Then Khabib goes 29-1. Like, how awkward would that be? And then GSP wins the belt, but then it goes vacant again. Then it's Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson again, maybe, right? Like, look at I'm looking at like the long term effects.
Yeah, you are, but it's kind of a little bit of a waste of energy because there's no point. I mean, Khabib is gonna choose whoever he wants, and if his father wanted that, yeah,
Telepathically, I'm trying to like, you know, get him on
yeah,
this.
like nothing's gonna change Khabib's mind at this point. If that's his
Yeah.
father's dream fight, he's gonna carry that out.
You know what? I always thought, why the hell did he change his mind and decide to go ahead and fight Justin Gaethje at the end of the year? Because, well, I think there was a change of heart in him, and that
Mhm.
could be the case in this case. Maybe he decides, like, you know what? Tony's the last fight, but wait a second. Maybe I want GSP still like after that. So you never know. You really never know.
Mhm.
Because, like, at this point, like, I don't know why a lot of people, like, I guess they don't know why, like, Khabib's so freaking stubborn to, like, fight GSP or to have, like, 2 more fights underneath his belt. Well, you know what? Like,
Mhm.
everybody has their own priorities, and, like, for Khabib, family, morals, culture, religion are the priorities for him. So I'm not
Yeah,
mad at that. I'm not mad at that. It's so sweet. Like, his father is his best friend. Like, the bond that they have is like undescribable, more than what he has with his brothers that he trains with. So, we'll
yeah.
see.
So,
I won't be
and we were
disappointed.
talking about Tony Ferguson. So,
Mm.
speaking of him, what's next for El Kukui? So he has stated that he pretty much wants either Connor or Poirier. So what are your thoughts on either of those two matchups? Do you think that Connor would even like consider fighting him?
So, first things first, everybody wants fucking Connor. I'm sorry for the French, okay? Right there. Like, everybody wants Connor. Connor is like the shortcut to stardom, shortcut to opportunities. Chimaev have said that, obviously a lot of people talk about him recently. And so I think that, like, Tony versus Connor would make sense. I'm not saying that Connor doesn't deserve to fight Tony. He definitely does. And, like,
Yeah.
especially if he wants to get up to the belt. No, I'm sorry, not just Connor. Dana wants him to be, like, next in line for the belt.
Hmm.
That he's trying to set him up just like, a boxing promotion would. But we're not gonna get into that. Basically, I think that Tony, like, and Connor, like, for me, Tony would do better against Poirier than he would Connor, just because Connor, he's Connor. He has that, what's called that left hook. It's dangerous, and we've all seen it. Poirier, I think that, like, I think he could be more predictable. Right, Connor has proven right now that he's not that predictable to stop. So I
Yeah.
would love to see. I still would love to see either fight. I would love, obviously I do love and respect Dustin Poirier. It's just that, a lot of what UFC would do, I don't know if they would put Connor against Tony Ferguson. Would you risk your baby boy, to lose and to, like, get demolished by El Gui? Maybe not. So you might see, like, more Tony Ferguson versus Dustin Poirier. I can see that more along the lines of the UFC right now. And what's called Tony would win. I'm sorry to all the Diamond fans out there. I love him too.
So to me, McGregor and Poirier kind of have like similar styles. They're both like striking heavy and like obviously really hard like power punchers. So I personally I wouldn't really want to see Ferguson right back in there with either of these two guys, especially with that type of fight that he had against Gaethje. He took a lot of damage. So personally, I'd rather see Tony up against someone like either Dan Hooker or Charles Oliveira. I think those fight, in my opinion, make more sense for him.
Yeah.
And yeah, those two guys, like they're obviously not easy fights on their own. Charles Oliveira has amazing jiu-jitsu, amazing boxing, and Dan Hooker has decent ground game, but he has amazing ground game or takedown defense, and obviously incredible striking. So I think these fights are the fights that I would rather see for Tony Ferguson for
Well,
his return.
for Tony, like, I think that he easily beats Dan Hooker. I just see it in my head right now because like Dan Hooker, his like recent performances weren't as convincing to me, like to the caliber of a fighter that Tony Ferguson is. Like the people that he's faced. No offense, Paul Felder, by the way, love you, but just like Tony's on another level. Obviously his style is so.
Well, when you look at his last performance against Dustin Poirier, I mean, Dustin Poirier had to literally give everything he had to win that fight. So I don't know. I was kind of surprised by his how well he did against Poirier. I thought Poirier was going to finish him in 2 rounds. So I think he's up there. And Charles Oliveira, I think he's up there as well. Like I mean, he has amazing jiu-jitsu. He's really similar to Tony in many ways. I mean, he has amazing cardio as well. I think he has better cardio than Dan Hooker. And the
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu, yeah, like we saw what he did to Kevin Lee. He just put the pressure on Kevin Lee. He boxed him out, right? He outboxed him all night, and then he just choked him, and he made it look easy. And obviously, playing like MMA math, it doesn't always work, but he had an easier time with Kevin Lee than Tony Ferguson did. So I think
Yeah.
that these two fights are definitely dangerous fights for Tony. But I would still rather see him fight one of these guys rather than McGregor or Poirier, just because he took so
Right.
much damage in his last fight.
This is my problem. Like, I love Tony. I adore him. He's pretty much my second favorite lightweight. Besides Khabib. The reason why, like, I don't know why it's just really hard for me to for you to talk about like, oh, he had a easier time with Kevin Lee. It's because like freaking Tony Ferguson took a lot of time off. If you actually look at how many years because of injuries or like the fact that the Khabib fight got canceled for whatever reason, like he took a lot of time off, especially after that whole Anthony Pettis thing where he he had to like recover from that. Like that's why like for me, I don't actually just look at past opponents just because like I look at Tony Ferguson's like career so far, and like so far he's taken a lot of time off. At the same time, he's still sharp. He's still Tony Ferguson. It's just I want to see him just be more consistent like that. Not saying that he's not. You know what I mean by that.
Yeah, I think Tony would also, I think he would win against both of these guys in my opinion. But I'm just trying to like show that I think that these guys are definitely at that caliber because Kevin Lee, he also has gotten better since he fought Tony, and
Yeah,
he
but he's not consistent. He has
definitely
no discipline.
that's true.
Sorry.
But Charles Oliveira still ran straight through him, like striking wise, and on the ground. So I do believe that these guys are right up there for title contention, like in the next upcoming years.
I agree. Like, no offense, like, you know how I feel about Kevin Lee, then I could definitely back that up. Like, the reason why, Oliveira honestly had an easy time with Kevin Lee too, was because, like, Kevin Lee, his fight IQ is shit. It's literally garbage. And, like, that's why I feel like he has all the resources to beat people like Oliveira, to maybe beat someone like Tony Ferguson, but because he's not disciplined enough, whether it's weight cutting, whether it's just overestimating yourself and underestimating your opponents, that literally hurts him, and that's why he's so inconsistent. So I have no mercy.
Oliveira
No.
or Kevin?
Kevin,
Oh, okay.
that's why
Yeah, I think Oliveira's on the 8 or 11 fight win streak, something huge. So yeah,
I've always
none of these guys are a joke. But
No.
yeah, I think these fights make a bit more sense for Tony. And upcoming, the next topic we gotta talk about is Usman versus Burns. We've already talked about this fight a bunch in our previous streams. So for the predictions, we've already said our predictions like 3 times. We just love talking about this fight. But one interesting thing that one of their teammates, because these guys they both train at the same gym. They're both training partners, and they both share a similar teammate in Michael Chandler. And he was given his prediction on the fight, and obviously he couldn't choose one. He just said it was 50-50, but he pretty much said exactly what I had said on the previous streams, that Usman for sure has the better wrestling, but he said that also Burns has the better like overall grappling when it comes to submissions and mixing everything up together, not just the wrestling. So yeah, just to reiterate what I said, I believe that when it comes to striking, they're both amazing strikers. But if you look at their previous opponents, Usman couldn't really touch Maya on the when it came to striking, and obviously Burns knocked him out. And when it comes to Tyron Woodley, Usman couldn't knock him down, and Burns obviously knocked him down multiple times. So when it comes to striking, I give Burns the edge. And then when it comes to the grappling, I don't see Usman being able to stop the submissions from Gilbert Burns, even when it comes to the grappling against Tyron Woodley, like
Yeah.
I first like I really want to break that fight down once it gets announced. Like I really want to do a stream for that and like show because I've like looked into it so much because I love Gilbert Burns. I've seen more of his grappling matches than I have his fights, and it's funny because Usman's the more standard wrestler, but when he took Woodley down, it was more kind of like trips. It wasn't really standard takedowns. But Gilbert, being the BJJ guy, it was funny because he was the one that actually landed the perfect double.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to see. So when it comes to the grappling, I give Gilbert Burns a massive advantage, and I just honestly I don't see any way, especially even since I saw Usman versus Masvidal, I did see kind of like positions where Usman didn't really seem safe when Masvidal was on his back, and I think in those positions Gilbert Burns would capitalize. And I don't know, Gilbert Burns to me he just looks unstoppable. I think he would beat Colby. I think he would beat obviously Masvidal. I I don't really see anybody stopping Gilbert Burns right now,
Okay.
except maybe George St. Pierre
Okay. Well,
if he were to
you
come back.
always
But
say
obviously,
George
I'm
St.
very
Pierre is
biased.
the
Yes,
default on that.
but
So
Gilbert Burns is my guy at
look,
170,
look,
no
babe.
doubt.
You know how much I love rooting for Gilbert Burns. Okay, like we've
Okay,
had these fights. We've been
what? What
talking
are you
about.
gonna say? What are you gonna say? Say it. What are you
You
gonna
can
say?
calm down. This is
Huh?
what I'm telling you.
Huh?
Well, number one, my first point is you're biased, and I know that. And
Oh,
then you have obviously really good.
I spoke straight facts right now. There was no bias in that. There was no bias. There was that was pure fact. When it comes to striking, that's just pure stats.
No,
Gilbert Burns
I'm
has
saying
the advantage.
overall.
When it comes to
Overall, you are
grappling,
biased. Okay, because you
okay,
always
I am. Overall, I am. But right now,
no,
that
no.
was pure facts.
I'm not
Okay,
saying
that was
it's
pure
not facts. I'm
facts.
just saying it's obviously this whole essay that you just read was obviously one sided. Like you literally only said,
It
"Oh,
was
has
because that's no,
grappling."
it was one-sided because that's honestly how I see the fight going. I think the fight is gonna be one-sided, in all honesty. Not
Okay, babe.
because I do like Usman. I think he beats everybody else except Gilbert Burns. And I look just because Gilbert Burns is a jiu-jitsu guy, I still think that George St. Pierre would beat him, even though GSP is more of a standard wrestler, even though he doesn't have like the traditional wrestling background. But I am biased, I'll admit it, but in that little paragraph I just gave, that was pure facts, Hung Wai. So if you want to handle this later, we can. I we can settle this later on the
The
private
point
chat.
is that like of course when it comes to like looking at past opponents, I obviously understand your points.
But it
I
was multiple
also
previous opponents. They had
right
multiple opponents.
okay so at the same time I haven't I'm trying to think of like Usman's like past opponents in terms of like anybody who was really like BJJ oriented. There's not
Damian
many.
Maya. And Damian
Yeah.
Maya got his
Okay.
back.
Fine. Okay.
What do you mean
Fine.
fine? Damian Maya is one of the greatest like jiu-jitsu practitioners in MMA, probably the best, even better than Fabricio Verdum in my opinion. Damian Maya got his back, and that was a really controversial decision that the referee decided to stand them up once he got Usman's back. And honestly, if Gilbert Burns gets his back, Gilbert Burns is more aggressive, and
That's
I
if.
just don't see.
That's if, by the
Yes,
way, and
that is a big if. But
Usman is
that just shows the holes in the jiu-jitsu of
okay.
Kamaru Usman.
Well, I'm gonna let you talk because like obviously I can't
I
finish
already
off.
said my piece. I
No,
said
you
my
didn't.
piece,
You just like you
and you're
literally are like
attacking me.
interrupting me.
You're
Anyway,
attacking me. No, no, you're interrupting me. Hung why?
no, you literally just you gave me the floor and then you just interrupted when I couldn't finish a point. Now, Usman is a smart fighter. So is Gilbert Burns, right? But Usman's champion because he's a smart fighter. So like obviously for IQ alone, I'm gonna give a little bit of the benefit of the doubt to Kamaru Usman. He is also really fast, right? He like they both train at the similar gyms or coaches, so like for both of them, that's an advantage or disadvantage if you actually look at it. And also, it's just I know how Usman is. Like he's not gonna fall for certain traps that Gilbert Burns has placed onto other people. When you say that Burns could beat Masvidal,
Easier
like
said than done.
okay, but Masvidal has better hands, and you already know
Of
that.
course,
Okay, for a
of
fact.
course,
So like that to me is just like okay, that's like a I would have to literally look into that because Masvidal his hands could knock out Gilbert Burns. We all know that.
of course.
Usman has a really good chin on him too. So if we're talking about striking, you're right. He probably is going to eat a few punches here, or strikes here and there, but he has a better chin. I still think like I don't know if I made up my mind yet on who I think is gonna win. I think it depends on the scenarios. Like I can think of like a few scenarios that could happen, right? Like the first part is literally like what you just said. Gilbert Burns, striking wise, like he's looking better than ever. Obviously, his transitions into a takedown, into his BJJ, amazing. Usman doesn't have a chance for that. Submission. There you go. That's one scenario. The other scenario is that if it goes to decision, because Usman, he has his no cardio problem whatsoever, and he's fast and he's smart, and it might be a boring fight. Let's just say that, how Usman is, and then when it comes to decision, Usman's gonna win that decision, that fight. But I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. I'm just trying to look at all the different points. Like I already know, how great Gilbert Burns is, and at the same time, Usman's the champion for a reason, right?
Well, when you go back to what you said about, well, they both have amazing cardio. They both don't get tired. And when you go back to the thing about Masvidal, let's just say Gilbert Burns would not be holding Masvidal up against the cage going for foot stomps. Gilbert Burns would be way more aggressive and way more attacking submissions rather than just wrestling.
I literally had to break. I literally had to just watch both of them in their last few matches. And my thing with this is obviously Usman has fought the more elite fighters. Okay, let's just be honest about that. And then obviously with Burns, Tyron Woodley, huge, right? David Maya, same thing for both of them, huge, right? If he faces Kobe, that's another thing on his belt, or Masvidal. Then you could say that they all had the same opponents. But at the end of the day, I think that Usman has fought more elite fighters because he is champion. He got his way there, right? He fought the better Tyron Woodley, if that makes sense, because Tyron Woodley kept plummeting, when Usman pretty much fought him, and then now when Burns fought him, he was done. I'm sorry, to Tyron Woodley fans, you already know that's not the same Tyron Woodley, not even close, right?
Well,
So
you could say that, but if you think about what people were saying when he fought Usman, people were saying that Tyron just didn't show up. But it wasn't that Tyron didn't show up. It's just that Usman was just that good of a fighter that he made Tyron look that bad. And I think it's the same thing with Burns. I don't think that Tyron really got worse just being that that was his next fight right after Usman. I think it's just that these guys are just on another level and they're just making him look that bad. They're making the former champion look like an amateur, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, for sure, bro. You remember we watched that together? That was incredible. We both just got really excited about that. When it comes to Burns beating Woodley, which is a huge, it was a huge deal. By the way, people was oh, Woodley's not the same. Well, it's Woodley. You should never count him out in a fight. But I think that when Usman faced him, Woodley, I don't know. I think he was in a different place because he was still champion. If that makes sense. I don't know because I feel that kind of adds a little bit of pressure.
It could, but we won't really know. Only Woodley would know that.
Only the chosen one would know that. But at the same time, these scenarios, I can see all of them happening. So it's really hard for me to. I'm just trying to, because I know you're biased at the same time. I'm trying to look at it from the other perspective as well, right? So.
See, I am biased, but those points I made were pure.
I never said that there were facts, but then saying that there's other facts to consider too, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. That. I love both of them. You know that.
The other thing you said was Usman's cardio, but Burns matches his cardio, and then the other thing you brought up was Masvidal.
Burns doesn't have I'm just saying Usman does have his cardio. Cardio is so important because you talk about 5-round fights.
Yeah.
Right. 5-round fights.
And he fought a 5-round domination. He dominated Woodley worse than Usman did in the 5-round fight.
How many times has Gilbert Burns fought a 5-round fight? Oh wait, that's his first main event.
And he did better against Woodley than the champion did.
Doesn't matter right now. I'm saying that in general, Usman has fought way more 5-round fights. It does matter.
Yeah.
By the way, you just have one freaking. I want to see Woods. I was God damn it, Burns! He's doing the whole 5-round fights and seeing how much he's gonna improve and how he fares with someone as elite as Kamaru Usman, right? So that's the real test right there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think that Usman and Colby are, besides Burns, the two best guys, and obviously Usman was able to keep that cardio up against someone at his caliber. And yeah, I don't think that Willie is that. I think those are the top three guys right now: Usman, Colby, and Burns. And yeah, so two of them fought each other. I don't think Burns has really been tested against either of those two guys in a five round fight. But I mean, yeah, you can't really. I guess you can't. You do have a point there, but you can't really say that you can't really question it too much because he
No, I'm not
dominated
questioning
Woodley
it. I'm just
worse.
this is facts, like you just said. The
I
fact is
think
that Kamaru Usman has fought 5-round fights against someone like Kobe as well as other people and Tyron Woodley. Then you have Burns that has fought 1 5-round fight. So I have to see.
mhm.
It's only one fight that he's had that was a 5-round fight, and he obviously looked really impressive. But that's one fight, and we've already seen people that fought
Yeah,
one fight, and then the other like fights that they weren't as consistent, or they weren't as the expectations were higher on them. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying it happens, okay?
Mhm.
Like with fighters, so you just have to we'll see. Once this whole thing gets announced, we'll do a whole show just
I'm not
dedicated to
really
that.
following your point there.
No, it's
How,
just like
I mean, how would
what do you mean you don't get it? It's just the fact that you have someone that's used to doing these 5-round fights, which
yeah?
obviously those 5-round fights distinguish which fighter is the actual better fighter, technically, skill wise, cardio,
But
everything.
Burns has had a 5-round fight against the former
It's
champion,
one fight. I want to see
but
more
it's
like
against
the
the
tested
former
for.
champion, and he performed better than the current champion. So I don't really see how you could question his
You know
5-round fight
what?
capabilities.
Well, we're gonna make a bet. I already know, and
I'm willing
you
to
already
bet.
know.
I'll bet
Okay.
$100 on this fight.
All right. Well, is it actually a money? Then we'll
Well,
make
I
it. We'll
mean,
make it official.
I
We'll
could bet with
official.
you, or I could just bet online. But I
Oh
mean,
no,
I'll
it's
bet
funner with
anything.
me.
I'll bet anything.
It's way funner
I'll
with
bet
me.
both. I'll bet both.
Okay, up to you. But once this whole fight gets announced, then we'll. Cause I don't know, man. I can't I love Gilbert Burns. I just don't want to underestimate the other things like that are there with Kamaru
I
Usman.
don't either. I think Usman, like, I didn't know that Burns was as good until he knocked out Maya and then he dominated Woodley. I thought Woodley was gonna win that fight. I was really surprised at how quickly Burns was able to climb the rankings. But before then, I thought that Usman was gonna be the guy that was gonna keep the belt for like 5 years or something. So yeah, I know exactly how good Kamaru Usman is. Like I knew that he was gonna dominate Masvidal, and obviously not on the striking, but in everything else that is MMA, and he did exactly that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I have to spend more time, honestly. You know, just looking at both fighters and their strengths, weaknesses, how they've been lately. It's
Yeah,
hard. This is not as easy as many people think. A lot of people might say Usman. A lot of people might bandwagon onto Burns. I'm not surprised that they do. But then at the same time, these two men are not going. It's not going to be one sided. I honestly don't think it's going to be one sided. I know how you feel. It's just because either way, both men are
yeah.
great in their own
It,
way, right? And they're going to be
I
fighting
could see a lot of things
a
playing
smart.
out. I mean, I could see Burns submitting him in round one. I could see it being like a 5-round war. But what I think is more likely is that Burns. I think it's going to be pretty even for like the first 3 rounds, and I think Burns is going to get a submission in round 3 or 4.
It could happen. I can see it being even for the first two, actually, not first three. But like I said,
Or
I'm not
uh,
here to debate you on this right now because, honestly, I'm not. This is just from what I think of at the moment. I will definitely we'll definitely have.
well, you kind of were debating me because you were kind of you're
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of
fully
discrediting
debating
my
you.
points.
I feel
You
like
were kind of discrediting my points because you said I was biased. I am biased. I will admit that, but those points were purely factual.
look, I love the
Purely.
both of them. That's why I said
Me
you are the
too.
biased one.
I
No,
love
no,
both
no,
of them
no, no,
too.
no, 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 no. You
I
never
love
say
both of them
the
too.
BJJ guys.
I
Don't
do,
say
but
that.
that doesn't mean that I don't love Usman. I
That's
do
not.
love
That's
them
not what.
both.
That's not. I don't have a leaning towards anybody at this point because I love both of them for different
Hmm.
reasons, and literally it's even at this point. It started up with me loving Usman because I knew Usman, I've known him for so long, but then at the same time, Gilbert Burns has stolen my heart, obviously lately
Hmm.
as well. So it's tough for me. So that's why I said you technically are the biased one because I don't have a
I
bias.
am, and
I
I
mean,
admit that. But those points that I made were not biased.
No,
So you
they're
can't
not.
discredit those points.
No, they're not, but they were very like. I just feel like you were missing like a bunch to consider. I'm not saying that yours was not true. It was just that like a lot of the other things
Well,
that you even said, like, had a
you
good
did
point.
tell me what I was missing to consider, and I still had the same opinion. So
Hey, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm not. I think it's a waste of time right now to talk about it when nothing's been announced yet. Because like the last
I
time,
know it
like,
hasn't even been out. Oh, yeah, that was another point that there's a possibility that could headline UFC 254.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how quickly Usman would want to turn around. That seems like a pretty quick turnaround for him. But hopefully it's on that card.
I think that many people forget that like these fighters they have lives, and obviously Gilbert Burns having
Yeah.
COVID, right? Like that's another thing. Usman leaving his daughter to have that fight with Masvidal. Like people forget that fighters have their own personal lives. So like, I'm not trying to be that fan that really wants them to turn this around really quickly because whatever things are more important than fighting at the end of the day, right? So
Yeah, for
whatever
sure.
happens. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. That's all I have to say about that. And like, I just don't think we should talk about it further until like something is actually announced because it might just break our hearts if it doesn't work out that way.
And another middleweight bout that was just announced today is Robert Whittaker versus Jared Cannonier on the Khabib versus Gaethje card. So this is another pretty big fight for the. Oh, I'm sorry, that this is a completely different division. I've been talking for too long.
Yeah, you went
This
all
is,
out for Burns, man. You
yeah, I
went all out
did.
for Burns.
I did. I let it all out. I busted my load for Burns.
Yeah, it's not even an exaggeration, guys. Like this man loves Burns like a lot. Okay, so anyways, let's go back. We digress.
All right, so I'll let you take this one.
Okay, so first of all, people underestimate how great Cannon is. Amazing striker, like crazy knockout power. First of all, because people just don't know him because his personality is just different than other fighters. And like some personalities, people think it's charming. Some people just don't think it's charming. They think it's boring, and that's what Jared Cannonier is like personally. But as a fighter, he's dangerous in a lot of different areas that many people don't even know. The striking is probably my favorite. Especially, and he's super fast. He's like lightning fast to get to his opponent and like capitalize on it. So for that reason alone, I'm never gonna count out Jared Kennedy. And people, please take notice, like, because this man's no joke. All right. The Reaper, Robert Whittaker, obviously special place in my heart. He's always gonna be my middleweight champion. Especially right now where he's after this fight, like the winner is pretty much going to face the winner of Adesanya versus Costa. So the Reaper, like he looked really good against Darren Till, but like here's my and I know you love Darren Till, so I'm gonna try not to make this, super blunt, but Canny, middleweight, better fighter than Darren Till for a lot of
I
reasons.
agree.
Great fight IQ, faster. He obviously like he knows like he's opportunistic, and that's the problem I have with Darren Till. So like he just doesn't like consistently take those opportunities. And yeah, sure, fine. He was patient against Robert Whittaker, but he was too patient, and Robert Whittaker took advantage of that, right? So like, he left a lot of things open for Robert Whittaker to take advantage and like to capitalize on that. So the Reaper is the better fighter. Kennedy has I don't know who has the better power because they both do. Honestly, at this point, when I look at it, like and I look at like what I think is going to happen, if it goes to decision, Robert Whittaker is going to win. He's a tougher fighter. In my opinion, he's the better fighter overall. If like let's just say there was a KO, Kennedy is gonna win, and like a lot of people might disagree with that, but like please look
I
at
agree with
the
that.
fight. Well, yeah, okay, fine, but I'm saying a lot of other people, right? So, anyways, I don't know where my partner went.
You have the floor.
Oh, okay. I was like, where did you go? So yeah, I definitely think that if there was a KO, it's not going to be from Robert Whittaker. There might be knockdowns by Robert Whittaker. There could be some ground game, obviously takedowns. I can see that being like Robert Whittaker's game plan as well, because like I would not go against like Jared Cannonier for like, especially when it comes to striking. And just Robert Whitaker, like man, when he's in the pocket, like you just can't stop him, right? And like I can definitely see that happening. Cannonier is patient as well. Like he's aggressive, but he's patient, and I can see him being patient, and that could be like the fault, because I definitely feel a Reaper like capitalizing on that, just like he did against Darren Till. But like I said, Darren Till not close to Jared Cannonier, especially in this division right now. So sorry, Darren Till fans, but I gotta see more consistency in this division. Fine, okay, fine. You got like what, like a split decision for Kelvin Gastelum, then you lose like a unanimous one against Robert Whitaker, and so I just personally think that Robert Whitaker is gonna take it. I think it'll go to decision, personally. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I pretty much, for the most part, agree with that. So, and other news that was pretty much sort of announced this week was that Cody would most likely be getting a title shot at flyweight. And I know you have very strong opinions on this,
I'm
so
not
I
gonna be
had
biased.
to
I'm gonna
mention
try
it.
not to be biased, okay, when I talk about this.
I
Oh,
will
it's
be
hard for me.
biased. I'll
No,
be
I
biased.
can't be biased. I hate the both of them, man. Like I literally can't be biased at this point. You can be biased because
So
I know which one you like better, technically.
yeah,
But, so I'll let you start.
whenever a bantamweight's involved, I'm immediately biased for them. So would he get a title shot? So I guess the question, like one of the questions is, does he deserve it? I do not think he deserves it. But then again, I mean, there aren't really too many contenders at 125. I don't think there's really one person that stands out right now. So it's kind of like, just why not? Yeah, he doesn't deserve it, but it's just like, why not? In my opinion, that's what I think. And I know you have much stronger opinions on it.
No, I mean, like, who do you think is gonna win then? Like,
Oh, my prediction on the fight? I really have no idea. It all just really depends on if Cody can make it to the fight healthy. Honestly, I don't think he will. I think it's gonna end up similar to what happened with TJ against Henry Cejudo. I think that he's just gonna be a little bit too drained. I mean, he did an interview on it and he looked extremely skinny and a little bit dehydrated, and he weighed 145. So he's obviously thinking about it, and I think still has 20 more pounds to go. So I don't know if he can make that weight healthy. If I had to give a proper prediction, I would say that he doesn't make it healthy and he will probably lose that fight.
okay, so you're only like concentrating on the weight cut
Yes,
aspect. But I mean,
yes,
yeah, of course, yeah, it's huge.
because I mean, if we could have seen him fight somebody else at 125, then obviously we can make better predictions. But we have to just guess at this point.
So, all right. So I have like really strong opinions, but
Mhm.
they're gonna be unbiased because I freaking can't stand both of them for like different reasons. Okay, so like there's literally no bias. It's for me, it's even. So with Cody, like of
Mhm.
course I don't think he deserves that title shot. He just came back, bro. Like, and you're just ducking the bantamweight division. That's what's happening right now. Let's just be blunt. Look at how stacked that division is. Like, look at the top. No, not even top 5, top 10, and you're just ducking everybody, right? Because
Yeah,
you just
yeah,
know,
this is
like,
the top of the bandwidth division right now, just pure killers. These are the top
I
three.
don't want to touch either of those. But you know what I mean? Like, right. So that's obviously a huge problem that I have with Cody. I hate fighters that do that because especially when they talk a lot of game, right? And like his last fight when he won against the Sunset, like he just seemed so determined to get back, especially in bantamweight. By the way, we're not talking about what he thought about flyweight. He like literally said a lot of things, saying that he's like ready, he's gonna be back. He, like obviously talking shit about Sean O'Malley. They both kind of going at each other. So like, why not make that fight happen? No, I want to go down the flyweight. So like it's kind of suspect right there already. And then like you said, the weight cut is a huge issue. Maybe he will be like TJ and pop that EPO and get him in trouble. But like
Well, I
right
didn't
now,
mean that when I said he would be like TJ. I just meant like he would be
yeah,
dehydrated.
like good. You never know. I don't know about Cody right now. I really don't. Like it's like he's like the guy that like is saying that like he's wanting to stay in this bantamweight division. He obviously has this beef against Sean O'Malley and all that, but then all of a sudden, oh, I want to go to flyweight. Like what? Like so like there's like this kind of don't know. I'm very skeptical about Cody Garbrandt right now. Very skeptical about No Love, and the weight cut is just like a really big issue. Fine, like laxatives might work for him. I don't know. Okay, and I don't think he, like you said, like he might not be able to get it healthy. However, I will say this: when Jose Aldo started to do the weight cut to 135, oh, he looked terrible. Okay, he looked like a skeleton. He looked like he was dead. Okay, let's just be honest. But then, like when you get closer to the fight and on fight day, he looked actually not as
Yeah,
bad as we thought. He was
it all
good
just
though.
depends on the fighter. Yeah.
So, like I said, if Aldo could do it, and Cody is usually smart with his weight cuts, then I'm not gonna rule that out. But it's
Mhm.
definitely not gonna be easy. So that's two things against him. Again, like for me, the biggest one I already told you. You're ducking that division, and you should know it. If you're denying it, then you're stupid. Okay, and then number three is that you're going against a freaking phenom of a beast in like Figgy, and I don't like admitting that, but he is. Like he's honestly so well rounded. You know, his ground game's impeccable. He's an amazing striker. He has that knockout power that Cody shouldn't underestimate. I don't give a crap
Mm.
if you have the bantamweight knockout power. Well, you just came back, son. Okay, so let's see how you fare against a
Well,
king.
he's always going to carry that power no matter what.
But at the same time, he has a lucky puncher's chance compared to Figgy, who literally knows what he's doing in all aspects of the game. And you pair that
Yeah,
with the weight cut
more
issue.
well-rounded for
Pair
sure.
that. You pair that with like
Mhm.
Figgy's great at trash talk, and they both can play that kind of heel and rivalry at the same time. There's a lot of things that are more on disadvantage to Cody, so it's gonna like take a really great KO, and I can't see that happening because Figgy got a chin on him. Really, he really, really does, and he's so well rounded, and he can definitely get out of those situations. He's smart. Too, Cody, in my opinion, doesn't have the best fight IQ. If anybody disagrees, look at his other fights. Okay, I'm sorry, like I'm just trying to be unbiased, and I hate both of them, but it's true, right? Figgy has
Yeah.
had the best fight IQ. Fine, a lot of people would argue you're gonna be like, well, flyweight doesn't have many contenders. Okay, it doesn't mean that he deserves that shot, but if he gets it, fine. I won't be terribly mad about it. I'm more mad that he's ducking the division. I'm more mad that he thinks that, he can duck the division and beat Figgy, someone who has the best chin on him, that has knockout power, and that beats you in a lot of different ways, in the fight game. And mentally, which is like probably the most important thing, and especially with the weight cut, you gotta think about his cardio too, right? How is he gonna do 24
Yeah, that's why
so
all you can do pretty much is guess at this point because we haven't seen him yet. So
no, I just think that there's a lot of things working against him, and it's also because Figgy's such a great fighter on his own. It's just really hard for me to ever think that Cody Garbrandt is going to beat someone who's just Figgy's at his prime. He's King Figgy,
yeah,
Like I can't see it. There's no scenario in my mind. Like let's just step aside from the weight cut. Cody isn't the better fighter. Figgy is. He has the knockout
that's
power, but
interesting.
Figgy does.
Mm.
Figgy can put him on the ground. Cody's dead. Figgy can transition from striking to the ground easily. Cody's
Mm.
not the smarter fighter. Do you know how important it is to have
So
great fight IQ? I'm telling you, like a lot of the greatest fighters that people think that are gonna move up in the division, they don't because they're stupid in the ring. No, it's true. It's true though.
so
Like I don't want to be blunt, but that's literally what it is.
yeah.
So, Cody, I'm sorry, you have no chance in hell against Figgy. And I'm not being biased. Like I can't even think of a good way to defend him.
Well, I think every fighter has a chance, in my opinion, to win any fight, especially a former champion, even though he is moving down. But so when it comes to his fight IQ, yeah, when you look at his past, most recent performances, they've been pretty terrible. But I think it's honestly it all just depends on which Cody Garbrandt shows up. Because when you look at his fight IQ when he fought Dominic Cruz, literally the most perfect game plan. Like it couldn't have gone any better for him. Like he pretty much outclassed one of the probably the best bantamweight fighter of all time, and pretty much toyed with him and knocked him down multiple times, and he was never really hurt in that fight. So in my opinion, I think it just depends on which Cody Garbrandt shows up. Is his head back in the game? I don't know. We'll just have to see. But that's just my thoughts. But in regards to him ducking the top of the bantamweight division, I think that what he is trying to do is that he thinks that he can just go down to flyweight and get this belt like pretty easily against Figgy. And he thinks that if he does that, if he holds a belt at 125, he thinks that maybe that's a shortcut to the top of the bantamweight division. He thinks maybe holding a belt will warrant a title shot at bantamweight.
That is so stupid. I'm sorry because it's against Biggie. Okay, like you know what I mean. And you're
That's
the
the
one.
thing. Yeah,
Cody's the one risking more. Obviously, Biggie's like, come at
yeah.
me right now. I'm like
Hmm.
comfortable. I'm like dominant right now. Nobody's gonna touch me in that division. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You have to like botch 20 pounds, and you have to adjust to someone like me, and someone who has a chin, and someone who also has knockout power. And I think about Cody's past opponents. Dom didn't have the knockout power that Cody had, right? TJ,
Right,
yeah, fine, but Cody had better knockout power, in my opinion, than
for
TJ.
sure.
And so at the same time, whatever, he had a great game plan against Dominic Cruz, but that was the only person he had a great game plan against that was actually elite. The rest of the people he
Mhm.
didn't. So
Mhm.
because basically Team Alpha Male like is so obsessed with Dominic Cruz that they literally made the perfect game plan and grew this fighter, this 28-year-old fighter into the Dominic Cruz killing machine, and that's what he
Mhm.
did. And they didn't do that with TJ. They couldn't. TJ was better. TJ was like he left, right? And like everybody in freaking Team Alpha Male has literally faced Dominic Cruz. Okay, so it was pretty obvious
So
to me.
this guy, David
So,
Coyle asked, should they get rid of 125 and 135? Well, I mean, I think
whoa.
135 is the most stacked division in the entire UFC roster. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't think they should get rid of. I don't think they should get rid of either division. I think both divisions are great. I really like 125, even though I don't follow it too much. But I think that having a champion like Figgy, who's really exciting, really well rounded on all areas of MMA, that's really going to bring a lot of attention to the flyweight division, in my opinion.
here's my like, and I understand what David Cole's question may be like in this perspective that 125. It reminds me of like Amanda Nunes at like featherweight.
Hmm.
There's not many fighters that are going to pose a challenge. And same as flyweight champion Valentina Shevchenko. There's not many people that are gonna do that. I forget 125 even exists. I know
Unfortunately,
because
many
that's
people
the
do. Yeah.
but that's the point, and I understand his point. There's not many fighters that are consistent there.
Yeah,
That are
yeah, that's the
easy.
problem.
And here's the thing: there's one fighter that's dominant right now, but the other fighters that were dominant in that division, they're gone. You got
Yeah,
DJ, you got uh, what's called Henry Cejudo, and so they're gone. So
yeah.
it sucks because I would love
That's
to see
why
that.
Cody's gonna get a title shot most likely because of that situation.
Well, I just think that Cody, I don't think it's the smartest move, not just because of the weight cut, but
Mhm.
it's just because like I think he's really underestimating like
He could be.
Big.
Yeah.
What do you mean he could
Yep,
be?
could be.
Like he is underestimating Big. Like, but he's like, okay, whatever. Weight cut's gonna be an issue. I could, bounce back from that. I have the knockout power. I have the experience, right? I'm like, well, Figgy, like, obviously he's never said anything good about Figgy. He literally gets into fights with Peter Yan and other
And John
people.
O'Malley.
I want O'Malley at 145. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, in terms of his
I don't know
build,
about
I
that.
totally get it. I totally get it. I don't think he would do as well at
Uh,
145 for sure. I think bantamweight's definitely his calling. He's a tall, lanky
yeah.
man, and I definitely I don't understand, like, because if I was Cody and I was thinking about two divisions, you got one that's stacked, but then you got one that has a champion that like is scary. He's not going to be easy, conquest to beat at all. I would, if I was Cody, I would rather, because he is a great fighter, especially in bantamweight. I can see him beating a lot of people, right? So that to
Yeah.
me kind of gets me like really confused. What the hell are you
Mhm.
doing this? Like, I get it, it's a shortcut, but it's like a really risky shortcut. If you lose this, which I
He's
would love to
confident.
see, by the way, I would love to see him lose just because he's just like underestimating everything. Totally team alpha male mentality right there. I'm fine with that, okay? Because it's
It might
literally
be
what
what's
I
happening.
see.
Might
Have you not seen him when he was like team alpha male strictly? You know what happened to
yeah,
them?
yeah.
Yeah. That's all he did was that he only concentrated on Dominic Cruz. He like got lost in the emotion when it came to TJ, Because he literally all they are arrogant over there, and they underestimate all these fighters that have clearly evolved themselves. And so that's my issue when it comes to Cody Garbrandt. If he loses that fight against Biggie, it's gonna be terrible, for him. Getting back into 135. Do you know how many people are gonna laugh at him? He's probably gonna get that fight against O'Malley, and O'Malley's just, it's just gonna be fun, after that for the other fighters. Peter Yan's gonna laugh his ass off. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. He's like, you stupid fuck. That's literally what he's gonna say.
Yeah, I would really rather see Cody stay at 135. Obviously.
Well, that's okay because your little boy is not gonna follow the smart way of doing things. That's fine by me.
Yeah, like I said, my prediction is that he's probably gonna lose against Biggie. Yeah, so
99% he's gonna lose to Biggie.
So something interesting is that obviously these three guys are pretty much the top of the bantamweight division right now, for title contention. And then just when you look at just 3 years ago, these guys were the top of the division, and it takes me back. This is my favorite bantamweight trio ever, and so I think we tend to forget a lot about TJ Dillashaw because he's obviously been suspended, but he's going to be back as of January 2021. So by that time, who knows? Maybe Cody will have the 125 belt and TJ will go to 125 and challenge for the 120. That would be so
they
funny.
Both look terrible, doing that, but
But if somehow Cody gets the road to a title shot, who knows if by that time, TJ will be back. And yeah, I'm really curious to see if TJ's going to get an immediate title shot upon his return, or if he's going to get a top contender like Marlon Moraes or something.
I think it depends on the atmosphere of the bantamweight division because right now he's not going to get a title shot. There's so you got Aljo, right? You got other fighters as well. Going up there, Marlon Morales. It's just really tough to see an opportunity for him. So I wouldn't be surprised if sorry, my bad. That goes to flyweight. You know what I mean? And because he's been there as well. So,
yeah, but then again, TJ is probably a bigger draw than any of the three guys that were on the previous page, and so just for that reason alone, the UFC might give him an immediate title shot.
It depends on who's champion. You know what I mean? That's to me. It really because that champion, whoever's champion, it dictates a lot of what is going to happen, especially if they're a Peter Yan, Aljo, someone who has a lot of personality, wants to play up some rivalries and all that, for sure. Yeah. So I think it depends. I think it depends. TJ, I'd be happy to see him back, but I just hope that he doesn't get suspended again, last time. So we'll see if he learns his lesson.
Just a quick sidetrack. So the 135-pound division is the most stacked division in the UFC. And in boxing, it's pretty much the same way. We got Lomachenko, Devin Haney, Teofimo, Ryan Garcia, and Tank Davis. And this is not even including Luke Campbell, Fortuna, Mikey Garcia. So I think for some reason, the 135-pound division in combat sports is just a really talent-stacked division. And obviously a huge fight is Ryan Garcia against Luke Campbell. Not sure exactly when it's happening yet, but it's for sure a done deal for the most part. And they're just waiting on a date. Same thing for Teofimo versus Lomachenko, another huge fight for boxing. So can't wait for that matchup either. And just to finish off on a couple more fights.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
We got Frankie Edgar, another featherweight, moving down a bantamweight against Pedro Munoz. So Pedro Munoz actually gave my coach his black belt. So that is why I will be rooting extra hard for Pedro Munoz, not just because he's a bantamweight, and that is set for UFC 252.
All right. So Frankie Edgar, I actually got the chance to meet. Lovely person, super sweet, and great family man as well. I love Pedro Munoz, so I'm not really biased. If that makes sense, I'm just excited to see. And we understand when people move down a division, usually that means that they're having a really tough time, lately. So I think that's a good move for Frankie. As long as he makes weight healthily, that's all I care about. So, we'll see.
Me too. And then one last fight at the bantamweight division, we got Sean O'Malley against Chito Vera.
You're gonna have to talk about that because you know how you feel about Sean O'Malley.
Well,
I gotta get a drink, so I'll be just muted, but you can talk about this because I know how strongly you feel about that.
Well, as I've said before, I not too much of a fan of Sean O'Malley. I mean, I don't really dislike him too much. I'm just not really too much of a fan, mainly because I don't think he should be trash talking a former champion like Cody Garbrandt when he hasn't fought someone in the top 15 yet. He is extremely talented. I think he's probably going to be in title contention within the next couple of years, but just pretty much for that reason alone, I just don't. I don't think he should be too arrogant just yet. He's still a bit untested against the really the heap of the bantamweight division, which is an extremely stacked division. And yeah, Cheeto Vera is going to be a really big test for him. I think Sean O'Malley is still probably going to win, to be honest. And then another huge fight is to headline UFC on August 29th is Yair Rodriguez against Zabit Magomed Sharipov. And that is highly anticipated fight. Obviously, it should have happened a while ago, but it got postponed for whatever reason multiple times. But that's going to be a huge striking match. And obviously, these guys are pretty similar. They both are like heavy, amazing strikers, and they kind of like blow their load in the first round, and they kind of gas out a little bit as the rounds go on. So that's going to be a pretty exciting fight from the get go. And then a couple more fights that were set. So we got the return of Johnny Walker. So that's going to be set for UFC 253, and it's going to be really interesting to see if he's improved with TriStar. And this fight was just rumored. It's apparently in negotiations. So now that Barboza is a featherweight, the matchups with him against Jeremy Stevens were apparently in the talks. So that's obviously a really fun, exciting fight. Looking forward to. And one last fight that we got to talk about is this was also apparently a rumored fight was Darren Till against Anderson Silva. So for some reason, I really like the idea of this fight. Just striking wise, it looks like it could be a really fun fight. And Darren Till is obviously he's not doing too great at middleweight. So Anderson Silva obviously he fought a really good fight against the current champion. So he's obviously not he's not anybody that people should overlook. He's still Anderson Silva at the end of the day. He's not in his prime, but I mean, if he was in his prime, I think he might be champion right now. I think he was that amazing in his prime, but even now, that this would be a really exciting fight in my opinion.
So, okay, I'm gonna interrupt you. Well, not really, because I feel like you just finished your point. But
Yeah.
Anderson Silva, like, sure, he's not someone you should overlook. But obviously, Jared Cannonier, easy win. Against.
Well, he got injured.
Silva.
He injured his leg in that
Yeah,
fight.
it's always been the freaking, like he's older. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what
Yeah.
happens. Like, and that's gonna serve him as a disadvantage. And any person that he decides to fight moving forward, and he has a few fights left on his contract. So if Darren Till is one of those matchups, that would be fun media wise. Can you believe? Like, can you imagine what Darren Till would say? Like how like Anderson Silva would respond? They're both so freaking like charming and funny, and, like just like for jokes at the end of the day. And I think it'd be just a lot of respect between both men, and it'd be fun to see just because both of them have kind of a similar fight style, right? Obviously, Anderson Silva is just amazing in every way possible. I love him, right? And then Darren Till, it's just there's more to prove, with him in this division. But he definitely belongs in this division. I would say though, when he decided to transition, that division just ended up revolutionizing and not in his favor. There's a lot of, obviously big name fighters like Joel Romero, Paulo Costa, as well as what's called Jared Cannonier, Robert Whitaker, obviously the champion, Israel Adesanya, that Darren Till has to like you transition and now you gotta deal with another set of beasts. So, babe, did you give me the floor again?
Yes.
Oh, thanks.
So yeah, that was pretty much all the fights that were pretty much announced or rumored within this past week.
Babe, can you get me food? I don't know what's wrong with my card.
I just did.
Huh?
I did.
No, but like something's wrong with my card when it comes to ordering it. We'll figure it out. After.
Sounds like a personal problem, bro.
Huh?
Sounds like a personal problem, bro.
No. It like happened like before. Some like weird ass transactions.
It was a joke. It was a joke. You totally missed it. Ugh. Never mind.
me. Like,
So, this was one of our longer streams. We went on for 2 hours and 40 minutes.
oh, we had to cover all the topics because clearly we were rushed to get the stream going. So I'm glad we at least talked about the other ones. I told you we could literally just talk about Khabib and we could talk about Cody and Burns and that fight for hours. So yeah, that was fun though.
Yeah.
You're a great host, babe. Well, I mean, I technically started off this one,
Yeah.
but
You did.
I know. I don't know how I got everything together. Like you're seeing, I was like on a nap, and I woke up and I was like, "This is canceled. This is canceled." Like I literally just texted you, like, "Damn it, we got underlay." So honestly, overall, not a bad night of fights. Like I said, another proven theory from Monique that just because they're fight nights and just because you don't know crap about the fighters doesn't mean they're going to be bad fights. They were amazing, actually. So I wasn't bored. There's actually not many of the boring fights, to be honest with you. Even though there was only 8 fights
I
on the
agree.
card.
Mhm.
Yeah. So very good. Like I said, I don't know who got fight of the night. I had to look that up. I don't know why it didn't pop up in my notifications yet. I would hope that fight of the night. Oh man, because that co-main event with Maya, man, that looking real good too, right? Like compared to that main event. And then but then Bobby Green versus Venata, if you go look at that, like they were both scrappy and they were both giving it their all, obviously because they don't want another draw like 3 years ago. Yeah, and Luke just that. I mean, I would say that's obviously he deserved a bonus in my opinion, but I wouldn't say that's fight of the night. Like he totally dominated, right? So definitely, I would say probably the main event is probably gonna take it for me if I'm going to be honest right now and see who's who has fight of the night. But yeah,
Okay.
in terms of what's coming up, apparently if anybody has UFC Fight Pass, there are so many fights lined up for the next how many days. Everything from Invicta to Cage Warriors to UFC, obviously, PFL, all whatever, all of the above, and LFA, they're all gonna be there, so you can check that out. I'm sure we'll probably be covering a lot of them. And for next week, there's a UFC Vegas 6, which is Lewis versus Olenek, and it's not a bad card, similar to this one actually. So we'll see, because I know we're probably gonna cover it, but it depends on my plans going forward for Saturday. So yeah, babe, do you have anything else to say?
No, that's pretty much it.
No, okay. It's quiet. Thank you everybody for joining. I always love the the interactive comments. We really like answering questions, from fight fan to fight fan. So thank you so much, and we will see you next time on Quarantine Loves Fight Companion Part 4. Right?
No, I think this was the 5th one.
Wow, already?
It's gonna be number 6 next.
All right, I'm gonna leave. You're the host
Okay.
technically, and thank you everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.